Great morning, San Diego. Welcome back, everyone. It's your new midday hang. It's Annie and Elsten together with you for 4 hours of live local San Diego sports talk radio on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. We are together in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Annie Heilbrunn is here. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Braden. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Hey, can't peel the smile off our faces. We're going to talk about our free-falling, beloved Local 9, and we'll get into them plenty. But I don't know. There were times. I thought there was a time to be mad about this team, Annie.
Go ahead, Craig.
And that time was about a month ago, and I was mad then. And I just feel like they're paying the bill right now. So, I'm not mad. I'm not mad right now. You got bludgeoned by the Phillies. What do you want?
That's the thing. I was watching yesterday, and it's like we talked about the Phillies, obviously, yesterday. Phillies are a really good team. The time for, I guess, missed opportunities, missed chances were really the Rockies, the Angels, the Mets, all of those teams. It's not like the Phillies don't go out and body all kinds of teams all around MLB, on a weekly basis. Like, they're a good team. Like, they're going to win. Obviously, they already are winning more than they're losing in their season. But it makes you wish that those other series, and I know you've been talking about this, it makes you wish that those other series, they would have been able to do more damage.
Yeah, that's where you are right now. And we're going to get into it all as the day continues. We got a full show today. We have no show tomorrow. Yeah. It's Juneteenth. The Odyssey Corporation was giving us the day regardless. And then the Padres, almost kind of like a double. Like, oh, you couldn't put this game on Thursday, huh? No. The Padres also would have given us the day off because they're playing at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Early game, yeah.
Wrap up this series, Waldron Suarez. And by losing the Sanchez game, Christopher Sanchez, who dominated the Padres once again, like all the left-handers in front of him have done, now you face Aaron Nola tonight, and you've got Ranger Suarez sort of in the on-deck circle, so to speak, or warming up in the bullpen behind. You're going to face two of the best starters in the National League the next two nights, which help lead the National League's best team, Philadelphia. What a great team they are. So complete. They're dominant. They come out with a tiger's edge every single game. They're just a ferocious team.
They absolutely are. They're a very complete team. I mean, that's really how you look at it. They don't have a ton of deficiencies on that team. You wonder, I've wondered this, and it's almost like what an embarrassment of riches if you're wondering this. Like, will they, because we see it so much in baseball, how individual it is and how sometimes you just go into different slumps and at different times. Will they be hot when it matters the most, right, in the postseason? But they have so many good players. They've done it so many different ways now. As long as they can sustain health, I don't see a huge drop-off for a team like that just has a lot of talent and knows how to use it in the right pieces, right? And so I heard Jesse this morning on with Ben and Woods. I thought, they got beat out by the Diamondbacks last year, the Phillies. They got beat out in the World Series.
The World Series by the Astros,
before.
right.
But still, you made it to the World Series. You made it into the playoffs. You gave yourself a chance every single time. And the Phillies, to me, like, they're a physical team. They're just like a team that I don't know a better word for them than complete. They've done a good job over there with that organization, top to bottom, really. But it doesn't really bother me that the Padres lost to them because they have injuries, obviously, with Joe, with you, with Xander, with Manny. And the Phillies are a good team, but it does, again, make you wish that the Mets series did not go the way it did.
Right. So, this team, I feel like there's been a lot. Like I said, the time to get mad was a long time ago, in my opinion. The time to get, guys, you got to get on it, right? That was a month ago, and they didn't. They said, we're fine, we're cool. They talked about their focus a couple weeks ago. They came out, they played a good homestand. But this team's win-loss record all year has been propped up, if you can imagine a tent being propped up by tent poles. This Padres tent has been propped up by 3 tent poles that were made of thin aluminum that you went like, oh, can those things hold? This is a really heavy canvas. and it gets heavier as the year goes on. One of those was a great road record, 19-10. That record's now 19-18. The team's lost 8 consecutive games on the road. During that time, they've averaged about 2 runs a game, and they scored 2 runs again yesterday. So, they had the 1-inning outburst on Sunday, and that's what that was. It turned a 5-run game into a 1-run game that wound up a 5-run game.
It's not a good recipe when your starters go out there and they're out of the game by the 5th inning, if not sooner, and they've given up 6 to 7 runs or, something along those lines, 5, 6, 7 runs. It's not a good recipe. However, to me, that does not completely wash out the fact that the offense isn't doing much of anything. And you can't, people say this sometimes and I'm like, I get it, but you can't, as a professional athlete, you can't be there in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd inning like, oh no, our starting pitcher gave up 5 runs. What are we going to do? Let's just go back in the clubhouse. And, they're not doing that obviously, but they know that is your job. That is what you get paid to do, is to go out there and to fight your butt off and to try and help close that gap a little bit or a lot, or it's not easy to have a comeback win every night. I certainly understand that, and I sympathize with players on that side. That's not easy. That's not going to happen every night. But you still, for what their offense has been doing, it hasn't. I don't think any of them would say it's been enough on their offensive side. And Jake Cronenworth pointed out something too. I think it was yesterday. That this was a team that was was used to being aggressive early. They were aggressive in the 1st and 2nd innings. For the most part, especially in the 1st inning. They've gotten away from that, and now they don't really score until the later innings, the 6th or later. Is when they put together their big inning, which is fine. It's good to get it done. Sometimes it's when the starter goes out, you get the bullpen in. But at the same time, that aggressiveness that they had that team meeting about, that they're talking about, they want that to be more consistent, and it hasn't always been there.
Well, here are the run totals during this 8-game road losing streak. 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 6, 2. So one time in the 8 games did you score enough runs that you would realistically say you could win that game, and you gave up 11.
Yeah.
That one game. Now, what you hear is, we need to marry our hitting and our pitching together. Well, yeah, that one day that was true. That one day that was definitely true. Yeah. You needed to marry your hitting and your pitching together. You need to do better hitting. Leave out all that other talk. You need to be a better hitting club. And what has been a constant through those games has been left-handed starting pitching on the mound, completely befuddling the Padres, doing 2 things at once, pitching to hold the team down and working deep into games with very, very little resistance along the way.
8 pitches in the 1st inning.
Yeah.
8 pitches in the 1st inning, and the Padres were down 1-2-3. And it didn't go like that every inning for Sanchez, but he was efficient for the most part. He was able to be efficient because that's it. You're not getting a ton of traffic typically with the left-handers. And I just want to point out, look, obviously their injuries are a big deal. Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. Who am I missing? Am I missing anyone? That's the big 4, right?
Sure.
Luis Ariz may still be dealing with a little something.
Yeah. Undoubtedly he is.
Everyone is banged up, and everyone is banged up at this point in the season. But I also just think it's important. It's important that we understand, too, that other teams also have really injuries that they were left for dead for. This team cannot make it back from this guy being out, that guy being out, this guy being out, that guy being out. And so it's not just the Padres. Heck, even the Rockies, the Angels, the Mets are dealing with injuries. So injuries are a big deal, and the Padres have a roster that they hope can overcome that, and they hope for the depth to overcome that. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And hopefully you do get those guys back and you still have a chance to make a run for it. And I think that's the plan here, right? You get some of that health back. You're still in the second half of your season. You're still in that hanging around in that 500 mark if no other teams have completely jumped you or whatever. And then you make a run for it. You make a run for it, and you've got your more healthy team back. But other teams are planning to do the same thing, so you got to keep that in mind.
Yes. We're always so focused upon ourselves that we kind of...
It's normal.
That we act like everyone else is just a computer bot that can just be overcome with our performance, as opposed to they're a bunch of human beings that are all working and thinking and plotting and trying and efforting and improving and changing and evolving. What's evolving quickly is the National League playoff picture. The Padres, for the first time, for 2-3 weeks, as they've done this, as they've bobbed along, they've always been able to lean upon, and boy, have they ever leaned upon, but look, we're in a playoff position. If the season ended today, we're in a playoff position. Well, if the season ended today, you would not be in a playoff position. Not by much. Not by much. By a half a game. By a half a game. The Padres are in a tie for 7th place, and the tiebreaker puts them in 8th today. Today. Tomorrow, they could be in 6th. Also tomorrow, they could be in 11th place because there's an entire grouping of teams that's a half game behind them. Just a half game behind them. And a game and a half below that, a game below that, and a game and a half total is 13th place, which is the rock bottom of teams that are trying to contend in the league. So that sounds horrible, Annie. Here's the good news. That rock bottom is like 2.5 games out of a playoff
Yeah,
spot.
you're like, essentially your rock bottom is like a little hole in the ground that comes up to like your calf. You step in it and it's like you're a little lower, but you're not all the way down at the bottom of the well yet, trying to grasp your way out of it. So you're in a little bit of a hole. And Craig, I know you're making the point, which is a valid point, that it can easily slip. You can, depending on how these other teams do, they can easily overtake you. You can slip down. The same way the Padres have to understand, and I'm sure they do because Mike Shildt, I'm sure, is keeping them positive on it, is that in a week or 2 weeks, you could be at the very top again. You could be in the best wild card spot.
Right.
This is where we're at, where it's so bunched up until a team runs away with it or just drops really a lot lower. You're just going to keep kind of cycling these wild card standings depending on the week and the opponent. I don't know until like a team can get maybe like 6 games ahead or 6 games below or something.
Well, here's
a week or two.
This is what we have to look at. We have to look at the end of next month. Every game, every week between here and the end of next month is setting the parameter for the trade market. And the way it looks right now is that almost every team is going to be able to make a theoretical argument to add. Now, some of those teams will volunteer themselves out.
As tribute.
Volunteer as tribute.
Like, for example, the Mets were out of it. There was a time when we would look at the Mets a few weeks ago, and it was like, this team is in a free fall. They're going to be selling everybody off. And now the Padres, unfortunately, have helped the Mets get back in it. The Mets are only 1 game back. No, yeah, they're 1 game back from the Padres, right? So you get a glimpse of what Craig is saying here of like, it's going to be really interesting to see where it lands and what teams go for it and what teams say, you know what, we might be in the race, but we know we don't really have a chance. So we've got to try to get the most we can back in what will be a seller's market.
Exactly. And as such, who knows? Could the Padres find themselves in that position? You would hate to think it, but it's really going to be a seller's market. It's going to be a seller's market this year, one of the biggest ever, because, I mean, honestly, I think the Pirates will probably volunteer themselves out. I think the Reds would be hard-pressed to add significantly along the way. I think the Nationals. But if a team like the Nationals decided they wanted to add, look how ready they are with a flush system to be able to add something. A lot of the teams, if they wanted to, and the Pirates are in that group, and the Reds are in that group, very much, if they wanted to add, they could outbid the Padres in a snap for anybody on the market because the Padres are going to be down to the 2 guys that they don't want to give up.
This is what makes baseball so fascinating. And the thing about these decisions, they are not always baseball decisions. They can be sometimes marketing decisions. They can be butts and seats decisions. We don't want our fan base to think we're giving up. We don't want, or sometimes like I talked about yesterday, as a front office, you have a much rosier, you're so far in that sometimes you cannot give up on, it's like giving up on your babies, and sometimes you don't know. I'm not saying this is the Padres, this is all around baseball. I'm speaking generally. The tough part of being a front office and a GM is knowing, this is a term that I'm going to use a really terrible, I'm not going to use that term. When I first was starting in editing, okay, there was a term given to me by, a gentleman across the street at NBC, and it was a reference of you've got to, die off your babies essentially, because in editing, when you're making a project, you have a tendency, everything you love, everything you want to keep, you want this like 10-minute piece, but nobody wants to watch that, but you're like, I love this scene, I can't take this out. And you have to, you have to sharpen yourself to where you have to be a little bit like cutthroat about it. Ruthless about it. Right. That's where I'm going for. So that's a weird analogy to take, but essentially in a front office of a system or any kind of sport, you have to know when to be ruthless. Like this isn't, you have to know when to step back and go, these are my babies, but they don't have it in them this year, and that is a dance. That is a dance. And again, I think it sometimes has to do with marketing and what is your end goal? What does it have to do with ticketing? All kinds of things that go into those kinds of decisions.
There's no question about it. And we can get not only deeper into it today, but over the course of months and years. But the one thing I will say to wrap that conversation and wrap the segment is everything you said is so true, so true. It's so important. And when those things aren't in alignment,
right.
When your baseball goals and your marketing butts and seats goals are not in alignment, you as an organization will make bad choices. By nature, you will make choices that will hurt you in the long run instead of helping you because you're not aligned. You're not all operating with the same information, going for the same goal in the same way. So that's a fascinating part that underlies everything that's happening. You know what would be really cool is if the Padres won a couple games and we got out of all of this.
Just get 10 games over 500, guys.
That would be really groovy on your part. It's the old James Shildt sign. If you don't like it, play better. Play better.
Oh, man, I missed that sign.
Yeah. Like it? Play better.
They should bring that back. When did that go away?
When Shields gave up the bomb to Cologne, I guess. It got traded for Tatis.
I missed that sign.
Went
That's
right
a good
out
sign.
the door.
If you don't want him to dance in the end zone, don't give up the touchdown.
That's right. If you don't want him to run it up, stop it. If
you don't like it, play better.
We got a full show for you today. Here's what's coming up. We will take some calls this hour. Not next segment, but in our third segment, we will take some calls. So stay ready. I know you'll be ready. I know you're out there. The number's 833-288-0973. I wouldn't call right now unless you just want to get placed on hold because we're not going to take a call next segment, but we will in a couple segments. Every time the team gets a little off kilter, it's fun to hear from y'all. Coming up in the 11 a.m. hour, Padres Deep Dive, of course, we will get into Michael King, today's starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres, his transition from a reliever to a full-time starter. How's it been going? Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the trends. Let's hear what Michael King has had to say about it and talk about this. A very interesting player on this roster, a guy in the prime of his career, traded for Juan Soto, also only has one more year of control after this year. A very interesting guy in a very interesting spot, making a huge move in his career. We'll talk about that in the 11 a.m. hour. And also in the 11 a.m. hour, Padres fans, you're going to want to stay tuned. All the shows are hyping letters to AJ now. Everyone's on the Substack. It's great to see. Everyone's reading it. So Dylan will make another repeat appearance for some smart baseball at 11:35. Dylan from Letters to AJ. And we'll continue our Padres discussion. We've got the 12 o'clock Sports Fix coming up naturally at 12 o'clock. We'll play Match Game today. I got to work on the questions. We're going to play Match Game today on Annie and Elsten at 12:45. We'll have Ask Us Anything to wrap up the show. So we got a lot going on between here and 2 o'clock, and Padres baseball at 3:40. And it's King on the mound against Aaron Nola in Philly. Who knows? Who knows? Every day is a new page to be written. We'll come back, and we've said this to you for a while. This team, the Padres, will go as far as its starting pitching takes them. Where is it taking them right now? We'll get into it when we come back. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Okay, so the computer's broke. Hi, gang.
Yeah, the spots won't work, so no commercials for now.
All right.
Until I fix that problem.
All right.
So we continue.
Let's keep doing the show. That's exciting for me. No breaks needed. No breaks wanted.
I'm restarting the computer, so you probably got another 5 minutes of the segment at minimum.
Okay. Here comes Adam.
What's not working?
Well, your mic because it's off. But what's not working is the computer isn't firing commercials. So we're just on the air now.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah. You got to turn your mic back on. There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Here we are. Computer crashed. No commercials equals dead air equals we have to fill the air or else there's dead air.
I was answering some texts. Hey, I was thinking about it. These are the thoughts that go through my mind. You know that whole sign of if you don't like it, play better? Like, do you think that was that someone bought that at a garage sale? There's only two choices I have for it, okay? Someone bought it at a garage sale that was like discarded out there for one of the fan fests. Or two, it's in the recesses of Petco in like a back corner of the equipment room. TJ Laidlaw, TJ Lacita. They all know where it is. It's somewhere in the back somewhere.
That's a great question. You don't think Shildt took it with him?
No, I don't think Shildt. Maybe.
That's my third alternative.
I feel like
Shildt
he
actually
left it
packed it out with him.
That is true. That could be the case. I feel like he left it for. He left it for the group, like
for
as
posterity.
a memento. Yeah.
Yes. Remember me when I'm gone. Yes. And they're like, cool, we'll throw this in the back closet.
Yes. Or someone picked it up at the garage sale, like a alongside the blue Nike dry fit shirts.
I would have charitably auctioned that. I mean, that thing had some serious culture to it. I mean, I'd want that too. Could you imagine that in the studio? That'd be amazing.
Amazing. It would be
I'd
amazing.
love to replace Dave Roberts and Ben Hugging back here with "If You Don't Like It, Play Better."
How much time do we have? Because I'm going to go into something depending on our time, Braden.
It's going to be a while.
Oh, good. Okay. So
Podcast time. Let's go.
I popped on
Does that
this.
mean we can cuss too, or
No, the FCC still applies.
oh, okay?
Those
I
rules
thought
still
with the
apply.
computer off, we could just go wild.
No.
There was an article in The Athletic, Sam Bloom, about Ron Washington.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Angels
there's a lot of talk about managers, okay? I thought that it was an interesting article. So essentially, a lot of their veterans are hurt, okay? Brandon Drury, forget who else. But
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout, yeah. There you
First
go.
and foremost, we'll go with Trout.
And then, Trout was
He's on
mentioned
my
a few
fantasy
times.
team. I'm dying all the time. Yeah.
And Ron Washington has started what he calls classroom sessions. Okay, kind of similar, by the way, to what Mike Shildt does.
ball talk.
Ball talk. And in it, he makes it's kind of required that players stand up and they confess their errors. So they tell all their teammates, hey, this is why I chose to run and try to steal this base. This is what was going through my mind. This is why it didn't work out. This is why, and the coaches. Now, Ron Washington went to those meetings at first, but since has decided to just leave it to the coaches and the team because he feels like people can't speak freely in front of him. Okay, but they have these meetings. It's a young team. And Ron Washington, as you remember earlier this year, called out, I forget his name.
Renhefo.
That's right, for bunting wrong or sack.
He called a squeeze and the pitch was like in the other batter's box, but Renhefo didn't get the bunt down.
Correct. And then he has already told reporters that if veterans such as Brandon Drury and Miguel Sano fail to perform after coming off the injured list, they will be benched in favor of younger players. So he said that to the media. And then they talked about their identity going forward because the Angels understand that they're part of a division that maybe the Astros are falling off a little bit, maybe the Rangers are whatever, the Mariners are still kind of good, but they're all good, obviously, but they feel like if in time they can make some headway here, but they're stuck with some big contracts for players like Trout, who are amazing, but injured a lot.
A lot.
Okay.
A lot.
So they are looking at, and you'll like this part. They figure to add more young talent at the deadline. That's what they want to do, is add young guys using Pilar, Renhefo, Taylor Ward, and Tyler Anderson as bait for contenders.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
And then trying to build through the draft in the international market. Now, Ron Washington is IDGAF. He does not care. He has been a player, a coach, a manager, won a World Series with the Braves. He gives no F's
He's
if
in
you
his
like
70s.
him or not.
Right.
Yeah. But he's essentially like, we've got to teach these young kids, these young players. They're young. Like, we've got to teach them the right way to play baseball, the right way to go about things. But it's controversial, kind of. He also got mad. That he thought it was ridiculous when White Sox manager Pedro Grifol, when the White Sox manager drew criticism for saying that his players were flat. And I guess people got mad at the White Sox manager.
Yeah.
And Ron Washington was like, what are you talking about? You can see that they're flat. Like, you can see this with your own two eyes. But we live in a time, we talk about it all the time here, where players get really sensitive.
Yeah.
They're very sensitive.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where you remember, Craig, people in the clubhouse that would stand up and be accountable for things and stand up and wanted to learn. Maybe, they're still in there, but not to the extent that they were 20, 30 years ago, right?
Yeah. Tough love.
That's right.
Constructive criticism.
That's right. And so it's just interesting to me because there's a lot of players, Ron Washington's team included, that I'm sure don't like this, and they will never say it to the media. Maybe when they leave the team, they go somewhere else. But then there's other players who will probably look back and go, you know what, that made me better. Like, it was, and they talk about it being purposely embarrassing. Like, they want these guys to feel embarrassed a little bit about it. And the reason I pointed out is really not to draw a connection to Mike Shildt or to any manager, to Bob Melvin, to Jace Tingler, to anyone. It's more to say that there's just different managers around the league, right? And they do it different ways. And will Ron Washington be fired in a year or two? Maybe.
Right,
You
sure.
know, and he knows that, or whatever. But you have to kind of own who you are and roll with it, right? And he's not afraid to let the public know who he is.
They're about to pass out some sheet music, Annie. We've been asked to actually recreate the commercials because we can't play them right now. So are you ready to
Oh my
sing
God,
a little Abamba?
I can't wait.
You should
Are
be
we doing the
driving a
timeshare?
Kia. You should be driving a Kia from El Cajon Kia.
Team
Team Kia of El Cajon. Pow.
Can
Okay,
we do the timeshare one?
We'll do some more. Yeah. Timeshare cancellation industry. We can do them all. I mean, if you give us all the reads, we'll just
That's
knock
30
it out.
seconds. You got to burn another 4 minutes and 30 seconds during the two pieces.
But I was just saying, we only got the sheet music for Team Kia of El Cajon. I need some more. I need more. But with material, we have the ability to do everything we need to keep this Odyssey train on the
tracks.
We have to get out and push this bad boy.
When are you going to
believe
do
that-
somebody needs to recreate the 2-minute warning?
This is your 2-minute warning. Don't touch that dial.
Yes.
This is your
There
2
you go.
minutes.
There you go.
In 2 minutes, we may have a computer again, but probably not.
It's a good thing that the corporate meeting wasn't today. There's a corporate meeting and corporate Odyssey meeting on Thursday.
Yes, Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to get this all fixed up before that.
Yep. We're going to shine this bad boy up. No worries.
Wait, so are we supposed to keep going?
Yes, we have to keep
Oh,
until
okay.
they tell us
Until
to
we
stop.
tell- until you- until you
Okay.
get
No,
cut
we
off
are
by
going
a
to continue.
commercial.
We are
This
going
is
to
you.
continue ad infinitum. We could do a 4-hour show. It doesn't. You know what? We've got enough stuff to do it. We've always had enough stuff to do it. Those breaks are for silly people. So. All right, let's just get right into what I was going to talk about next segment. And we're going to get into Shildt. We'll even take some. Do the calls work, Braden?
Yeah, it's a different computer.
Okay, cool. So we'll take some calls later. We'll keep it rolling. Rain delay theater is what
I
this
love
feels
it.
like. It's a mantra that we've adopted for a little while. That this team, the San Diego Padres, will go as far as its starting pitching takes them. Right now, that's not very far. Unfortunate to say, but right now, that's not very far. Right now, this rotation is giving me August 2021 vibes. In August of 2021, there was a handful of injuries combined with poor performance, and you wound up with like 2 spots in the rotation that weren't on fire. And then 3 that were on fire over and over. And it became very, very difficult as those 2 pitchers were trying to keep everything aloft while the other 3 spots were leaking oil, and then the bullpen comes in all the time, and then everyone's tired. It's a vicious cycle.
Right.
So here's what's going on right now, the numbers for this rotation. Adam Major has had to make 3 starts in place of Yu Darvish. He's going to make one more
He's going to make one more against the Brewers
on Thursday.
before Darvish is supposed to start against the Nationals.
Correct. So good news. There is one of these spots will change. But Adam Mazur's 3 starts, the Padres have gone 0-3. And in those 3 starts, he's pitched 12 2/3 innings. So that's 4 innings on average per start. That 6 innings came in the first start. So a lot of heavy lifting from that first start.
Right.
His whip is actually over 2.
And we'll talk about that later. Let's see if we can go to break.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Andy and Elsten on the Fan. Break.
All right.
Oh.
10:36. So here's what happened. We had a computer go boom, and then they reset it, but it tossed our clock into oblivion, which is something normally I do on my own.
I got the full report from JR.
Yeah, what happened?
Some, for lack of better terms, some security chip in the computer got a restart or a update last night, in the middle of the night, and then by doing so, the signal between the chip and the computer went out because of the new update, and then the computer freaked out and just self-destructed.
Cool.
That will be all of us in 20 years.
So
Our signals and chips will go out, and then we will all self-destruct.
Security
That's
chip.
how it all ends.
Security chip got an update,
We all
computer
get the
could not
chip,
find
and then
the
the chip
chip.
goes, and then we're done.
and then it wigged out and had to be reset. We call it a power cycle,
At least it wasn't an HACK.
right?
Yeah.
Correct. So,
That's why I was smoking all over the place.
So what we need to do is what's known as a reset. And our next segment is intended to be a caller segment. But what we're going to do right now at the very beginning of this short segment is reward you for sticking through that break by offering you a prize. We have a pair of tickets to this Saturday's San Diego Legion rugby match against Houston SaberCats at Snapdragon Stadium. Tickets available at stlegion.com. But if you'd like to get a pair of tickets to Saturday's Legion match, always a great time. If you haven't gone out there, a fascinating time. It moves quick, a couple hours, lots of beers, lots of cheering, lots of fun. All you got to do is call 833-288-0973 and be the number 5 caller, because a try is worth 5 points. So be the number
Like
5 caller, and you'll get a pair of San Diego Legion tickets. We are going to find that caller, then we're going to clear the lines and reset them to take calls in the next segment if you are so interested. Maybe I'll just wrap this stat line, because that'll take 3 minutes,
There you go.
right? If nothing else.
Sure.
Adam Mazur, Padres are 0-3 in his 3 starts. 7.82 ERA, whip over 2, obviously. Okay, throw those numbers out, please. Oh, my God. Randy Vasquez is now a more regular presence in the Padres rotation. He's now made 9 starts after yesterday. The Padres are 2-7 in his 9 starts this year. He's pitched 42 2/3 innings in those 9 starts. That's less than 5 innings on average per start. He's had a couple times he's gone 6, but on average, it's been fewer than 5 innings per start. His whip is almost 1.7, 1.68, and his ERA is 5.7. Well, 5th starter, 6th starter for the team, essentially, but it's the kind of numbers that you're going to lose ball games. That's simple.
I mean, yeah, look, they're learning how to pitch in the big leagues. You have guys who are in their first season as starting pitchers in the major leagues, and you're going to have some bumps and bruises along the way with that. Adam Mazur is probably up earlier than he was maybe ready for.
Sure.
And
clearly, right? Clearly.
You traded Juan Soto, and I think you expected Brito and Vasquez to be in this rotation. I'm not sure how much at this point. And Brito right now, they need the bullpen help, and I don't know what their thoughts are. Clearly, he'd be in the rotation if they wanted him there. So, you can question the depth, though. You could question, was there enough depth to sustain these kinds of injuries?
Right. Now, here's the hidden problem. Here's what's easy to miss. It's the nature of stats. If you get great early stats, you can be bad for a while, and you only look like you're a little above average, but you've actually been bad for a while. And Dylan Cease has been bad for a while. In his last 7 starts, remember, Randy Vasquez has made 9 starts all year. This is a 7-start span. The last 7 starts. Padres are 3-4 in his starts. He has pitched 37 1/3 innings pitched, which is around 5 innings a start. His whip is 1.5. 1.5. It's 1 for the year, but it's 1.5 over the last 7 games. And his ERA is 6.27 in that time, which is higher than Randy Vasquez. So you've got 3 spots out of 5 in your rotation right now that are leaking oil to the tune of 5.7, 6.3, 7.8.
The tough one on that to me is not so much Vasquez and Major, because again, you expect that from pitchers who are just learning to be full-time starters in the big leagues. Dylan Cease, though, who is terrific. We saw how terrific Dylan Cease is. I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully he can get back to a little bit closer to the form that he was earlier in the season.
Yeah, but where he is right now is really, really struggling. So now you're down to the guys the next 2 days, King and Waldron. And now the pressure's on them that no matter what happens in the first 3 innings, they've got to pitch the next 3 innings and try and get a fourth inning after that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't reset the bullpen, it becomes the vortex of despair. It becomes that cycle. And that's what created the 2021, what was erroneously called a once-in-a-century collapse. In reality, when 3 out of your 5 starting rotation spots are leaking massive oil, and that's when Arrieta, Velasquez, and Weathers were leaking oil. Right now, Major, Vasquez, and Cease are leaking oil on a very, very similar tune. And as a result, you get into a really nasty spiral.
And you can't do it to your bullpen. If you want to go where you want to go into the playoffs, your bullpen in the second half will be so depleted. They're in the middle of, again, 26 games in 27 days. So that is why sometimes you see decisions being made, because Mike Shildt knows he's got to essentially punt or use some guys some days, because on Sunday he has to use these guys because they're going into Philadelphia, and you just said it, you're going to need to have some guys ready, right? And so yes, the pressure is on Michael King, who I know is going to go out there and do his best to come through for the team. He understands how important that is, but this Phillies lineup is good, right? Same with Matt Waldron. It's a good Phillies lineup, so it's going to be a tough matchup.
Now, we got to take a break. I want to say thanks to Victor in the chat, and I just looked it up on SDLegion.com to be sure. In our copy, it said that was a Saturday game. It is a Sunday game against the SaberCats. That is Sunday at 3 o'clock.
Love it. Sunday.
At Snapdragon Stadium. Sunday.
It's
Thanks.
a nice Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Dave. Anyways,
He
so
writes the letters.
congrats to whoever won. We're going to come back. We got to take a break, and we will wrap up this first hour. We'll get into some calls as we continue at 833-288-0973. Annie and Elsten on the Fan.
All right.
10:49. Okay, we've reset everything. The computer's reset. The brakes are reset. We're caught up.
We took a reset.
Little blink.
Yeah.
Little Blink-182.
We've reset. Blink is reset. So we're going to have one more short segment. This is the last bit of the credit card being paid off. We have to have one more short segment.
These are our payment plans.
They are. Unfortunately, we have to pay with a short segment again. And then we will be completely 100% debt-free. That's another one of the ads we could have done if the computer was still broken.
What about your boy Lou? He's on meds too.
That's right. He's on wife number 2.
He's on wife 4.
He's only on wife number 2 is what it says.
Just like Lou.
Just like Lou. So, I mean, if we had gone 15 more minutes, I was literally expecting the sales staff to start running in with printouts.
Get it for a buck. Dave Single, Dave Single. Get it for a buck.
We're kind of like the Bag Boys.
Bag boys,
Bag boys.
What you gonna do?
I mean, so we would have been great at it. I mean, I really think we would have covered the whole.
We're making up for all the ones that they missed.
Right.
Get it for a buck. Dave Single. Okay, I can play Sandstorm in the background. We got fist pump while we're doing it. Getting all excited. It's good times. I love My Eyes. Haven't heard that one in a long time.
Hi, I'm Bopper.
My eyes connect me to everything I see.
My grandmother apparently is seeing those people this
granddad
week. She
had
had something
eyes,
to do.
Then
and
his eyes went away.
she said what it was, and I'm like, where have I heard that before? I'm like, oh my God, I love my eyes. She got it. The advertising worked.
Oh man, I want to be 100% pain free. I'd love that. QC Kinetics, come at me, y'all. Come at me. Love to be 100% pain free.
Who's the guy, the Matt guy that sounds just like Scraby, but it's not Scraby?
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, well,
With the fun pills.
take care of things.
That's right.
Help you out a little bit. I was going to take calls here, but there's just not enough time. There's not enough time in this segment. I don't want to jip anybody. There were a couple of questions in the chat. Actually, both by the same guy, Jesus. But I think these are easy to tackle in 2.5 minutes. Let's see here. The first one, any update on Tom Cosgrove and how he fell off so quickly? I do have an update on Tom Cosgrove.
Do you?
Is
Yes.
his ERA under 11?
Well, he's like scoreless in his last 8 innings.
Hey,
Tom.
Yeah. So in El Paso, Tom Cosgrove, who pitched to literally an ERA of 19 after getting sent down, is back on the beam. He is actually pitching well right now in El Paso. Now, I could go look, and yesterday he gave up 8. I don't know. I did not look at yesterday. But
I
that
want
was
it
a
for
note.
him. So I hope that it's turning around for him.
If he had 5 more scoreless appearances, why wouldn't you
Maybe
bring him back? Like, we've got some guys who are giving up a homer every 2 innings right now in the bullpen. De Los Santos.
Give him a try.
I really needed to restore the Pagan meme for De Los Santos, but I haven't done it. Then the second question that Jesus had was, why not have Adrian Morejon as a starter? He's built up his arm strength and durability and has shown he can pitch 4+ innings. Well, Jesus, you said 3 things in that second sentence, and 2 of them are arguably true, and 1 is 100% not true. Has he built up his arm strength? Yeah, somewhat. They still have only used him back-to-back once the entire year, and that was for very, very short 7-pitch outing, is what precipitated it. His durability, well, like we said, he's only gone back-to-back once. Shown he can pitch 4+ innings. He's literally never done that in his career. So
He's never gone more than 4 innings.
I believe 3 and something is his career high. And I'll go 100% double check that, but I'm pretty sure he's never thrown that many innings. So to say he's proven it, when?
So Morejon, they feel like they've tapped into something with him, which they have. He went into the pitching lab. He worked with Ruben Niebla. They figured out some things going on with him to help him a little bit more this year. And he has done better. He's grown as a pitcher for sure. But I think that the mentality there is we need to use him the way we're using him right now and not give him too much too fast. because they need him right now. They need him to be preventative for them in the bullpen. And so I think you'll start to see him earn more opportunities. Maybe eventually it will be in the starting rotation depending on their need, but I don't know that's imminent. Just depending on just because of how they want to make sure that he's kind of being protected right now and able to help them. Hey, Rich Hill, JD's third says, we need Rich Hill to save our season. Rich Hill went on the record last year saying he wanted to sit out the whole first half for his kids' Little League games and then come back the second half. This is your time.
One time in Adrian Morejon's career did he pitch 4 innings. The next time he went out, he was injured and gone for a year. So that's the answer to that. Hour number 2 next. Padres Deep Dive Hour begins now. It's Annie and Elsten, hour number 2 of your new midday hang on San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie and Elsten here with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet. I'm Craig Elsten, this multimedia operation that benefits the Odyssey Corporation. Live on 97.3 FM radio, live on the Odyssey app, streaming worldwide. We are a podcast chopped up into digestible hour-sized portions for you to Technology's cool.
Should be good now.
You
All
love
right,
it
I guess
and you
it's
hate
good
it.
now. Hi again, YouTube.
My thing got muted.
Oh, nice.
That's
okay.
a StreamYard problem.
Oh, StreamYard. Well, 2nd hour.
We're not gonna alibi that.
No,
Brandon.
yeah, don't alibi it. StreamYard.
That's what it was. My thing was muted on there.
Oh, you know what? It actually is an alibi.
My audio goes through me. Audio for the show goes through my little box, and when that gets muted,
Oh, it's a real, yeah.
It's an
okay,
actual.
fine.
It's it's an actual alibi.
Okay.
The thing did. I did the stuff, but the thing didn't do the thing.
thing didn't do what it was supposed to do.
There
Execute better.
it is. If you don't like it, execute better.
That's right.
We're
That's
gonna
right.
hang that sign.
That's right, StreamYard.
Yeah, StreamYard. Yeah, you. All right, here's what's coming up this hour on the show. It is the Padres 11 a.m. Deep Dive Hour. We've got some Shildt talk. We've got some Michael King discussion. And we've got a special treat at 11:35. Dylan from Letters to AJ will be joining us for another one of our semi-regular Smart Baseball conversations. Love the rotating group of great guests that we're developing here on Annie and Elsten. So let's start with what was, I think, a lot of the morning show's discussion here today, which was, Mike Shildt putting on a brave front after last night's game. The Padres obviously got hammered last night. It was a non-competitive game. It was not factually the first time that's happened this year. The Padres have fallen way behind lots of times this year, actually. Now, sometimes they fought back to make it a little more competitive, but taking a 7-1 game and making it 7-3 doesn't really take it out of that box for me of a game that you got knocked around,
Right.
It's a little bit of window dressing, a little bit of eyewash is a baseball term as well. Now the game, that you really pull back and make it close and bring the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning, that's a different story. The ones that you just turned a 7-run loss into a 5-run loss, did you really come back? I mean, yeah, you scored a couple runs. That's cool. Nonetheless, last night, no comeback, no nothing. And here's what Mike Shildt had to say, starting off when he was asked a question by Kevin Acee to begin the press conference about his long-term concerns about what's going on with the Padres.
Long-term, zero. I have no concern about this club at all. I have complete confidence. This too shall pass. We're in a situation where today was the first game that's really gotten away from us in almost all season, right? Every game's been right there.
Yeah. Well, look, sure. I think you and I have been pretty consistent about Mike Shildt. I don't necessarily have a lot to say about Mike Shildt today. This is what I have to say. I think Mike Shildt's done a pretty good job for the most part this year. I think he's got a difficult situation. I think his setup, his career setup, his personal career situation is not the one that a lot of managers would sign up for. He's got the type of tenure that doesn't exist. He's got the kind of security that maybe extends to the end of the year. But if things went wrong, there's no reason to say that he wouldn't be someone that could get targeted. So, Mike Shildt, under that circumstance, is very ideologically consistent. He is going to 100% present a positive face to the front, and you're not going to know what he says behind closed doors. So he's going to go one direction this way, and then he's going to go behind a closed door, and what happens back there, you don't know. And that's not going to cross over from one side of the wall to the other. So at this point, to me, like, if you're getting worked up about what Mike Shildt says, maybe it's time to take a step back. I'm not talking to you, Eddie, but I'm talking to folks who get mad about Mike Shildt. Like, maybe take a step back, look at the context of where he is in his career and what he's doing with this team, and recognize that he's purposefully had a choice on how he's going to handle forward-facing interactions.
Yeah, exactly. He's sticking with that choice, and we don't. That's the hard part here is you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. He is a manager that has shown that he has a lot of conversations, a lot of talking with players. He wants things out in the open. He wants to pay attention to details. So I would imagine that things are getting brought up. How and in what tenor that those are, what tone those are being brought up, I don't know. Only the players really know that, right? But in terms of just who he's decided to be to the media, and I think trying to prevent against what he's seen happen here the last few years, especially last year, he wants to put forward and he's made it intentional to put forward kind of this mantra of this, the train is not going off the tracks here, because he watched how it did go off the tracks last year. So if you're I don't think you should be mad at Mike Shildt either. This is just who Mike Shildt is. Like, you'd be asking him to change who he is, right? This is who he's decided to be. He's coming from a much different organization with the Cardinals, where he came up through the Cardinals organization. He was mentored by the people within that organization who believed in him greatly. But, they eventually let him go. But during the time that he was brought up through there, the 17, 18, I don't remember how many years, it could be even more than that, 20 plus years he was with the Cardinals. And this was a winning organization with the Cardinals. And so there was a mentality amongst the St. Louis where things would eventually get right. And I think that he kind of has that same mentality too of, this is a long season and there's still time to turn it around. They're not mathematically out of anything. And so they're going to keep pushing to get where their goal is in October. Now, he said yesterday that you'll see them in October in the playoffs.
He quite literally said they will get to October.
Right.
And I 100% agree with him.
Yeah.
I believe the Padres franchise will exist on October 1st.
He didn't. You're right. You know what? As we love, especially me, accuracy. He did not say that you will see us in the playoffs in October, but he alluded to.
That's probably what he meant.
He alluded to.
I took it
being
literally.
There in October.
I was you're right, Matt. You're right, Mike. They're going to make it, man. They're going to make it. They're all going to get there. They'll be there in October. I believe it.
It's an interesting thing. I think if you're gonna be mad at him, which again I agree with you, Craig. I don't think that he's really the what's not working here. Then you better take that all the way up the organization, and not just on the baseball side. You better take it all the way up because, when something happens, if I go on 5 dates and I'm dating someone, for a year at a time, and it's a different person each year. And and every time they come back and they're like, you're not a good listener. Either I'm picking someone who the wrong people who are trying to gaslight me and trying to be mad at me, or I'm not a good listener. Right. And so when the same things are happening over and over, I don't think that it's imperative to look just at the easiest person closest to you. You've got to look and see what is going on top to bottom.
Right here in our chat, I see two perfect examples of the next thing I want to say. Satan's Blowfish says, I think I'm still more satisfied overall with how Shildt manages, but the pressers are going to age terribly, and you don't get to do that ad nauseum with no consequence. JD's third, who had quite a day yesterday in the chat, says, people generally get upset when they are lied to and gaslit and told their eyes don't see what they see. Okay.
Go
Please,
ahead.
No.
Well, here's the thing. Mike Shildt believes it.
Right.
So this is, I think, important to understand. This is how he's wired. He believes that there was a defensive highlight reel yesterday. He believes that his players have a ton in them that they've been putting forward this season and is still going to come through later on this season. He is wired this way, to be very optimistic and to have belief in his players and to point out the optimism because things get too negative sometimes and he wants to make sure that things stay positive. This is kind of who he is. So I think that when he says that kind of stuff, it's because he truly believes it.
And I'll even back that up further. In all of the full seasons that Mike Shildt managed the St. Louis Cardinals, his team at this stage had a losing record. And all of those teams rallied to win 90 or 91 games and make the playoffs. So when Mike Shildt says he has zero doubt that's where they're going to get, it's because every year of his managerial career, this happened and they wound up there. So of course he's going to feel that way. It's just like saying, well, yeah, I'm sorry for another tortured golf analogy, but I'm 8 over at the turn, but I love the back nine, and I know I'm going to turn it around. So I have no concern about where I'm going because I know I'm going to handle the back. Now, do those past experiences literally inform what's going to happen for the 2024 Padres? In no way, shape, or form does it inform what's going to happen for the Padres. This is a unique team, unique year, unique circumstance. So that's just his personal history guiding him, just like your personal history guides you when you say, well, I'm always good at something, so I'm struggling at this right now, but I know I'm going to get better at it.
Yeah, you can't, essentially, if you're going to write everyone off right now, you might as well just stop watching for the whole season and say it's over. It's a wrap. And Mike Shildt might as well tell his players, look, I don't ever expect any of you to be any better than what's happening right now. This is it. This is as good as you're ever going to be. And everybody kind of go and have dinner and play games in play video games in your room. Like, you're essentially saying this team cannot get better. There can be no growth. Now, look, your mileage, to borrow a phrase from you, your mileage may vary on those press conferences. And I get that. that it might be, maybe that's not the way that, you think he should be, but that is the way he is, and maybe if there's another manager, maybe you didn't think Bob Melvin should answer questions the way he should, or Jace Tingler should answer the questions the way he should. Like, those are all very subjective, and I understand that you might have differences of opinions on how those go.
And so I want to say this in the way that's the most supportive to Mike, but also to you, the Padres baseball fan, as possible. You have the right to completely tune out what he's saying. Or not believe it. Right. If you want to think that it's completely different, that's fine. If you want to stop listening to his post-game and pre-game, or especially post-game conferences, pre-game he might tell you, Yu Darvish's rehab start time or something like that. But if you want to tune those out, you'll probably be a healthier fan for doing that. And that's no disrespect to Mike. It's not to say that what he says is irrelevant. It's that it's going to be consistent. Mm-hmm. He's not going to change. He's not. Yeah. If you're tuning in every single night after the game going like, oh, this is going to be the one. I'm waiting for him to blow up. I'm waiting for him to lose it. Like, he's not going to do a Lee Elia here or a Hal McRae and throw the phone. Like, it's not going to happen. And I will tell you this. If he does, it will speak of bigger problems, because I've said this before. You have to have consistency as a manager. If he starts being like, well, everyone wants me to be mad, so I'm going to go in there and be mad. Like, the players are going to sniff that out. They're going to think that he's fraudulent. They're going to think that he's, not that he can't ever get mad and throw a table. Like, Bob Melvin talked about that all the time. You have to pick your moment when you're going to throw the table. And that's metaphorical. Like, he did, like, sometimes there are actual tables thrown, but literally it's like, it's like I'm going to get mad moment, right. And I'm going to, Every manager thinks differently. I mean, Ron Washington might have had 17 get mad moments by now, and maybe maybe the last 10 of them go right over the players' heads because they've heard it so many times, or maybe it's working for them. I don't know. There's like so much more to it in terms of culture and organization than just the manager. And by the way, character of players. You can get mad all you want, but if you have a clubhouse that is like not really that invested, and that I'm not saying that that's the Padres at all. I do believe they're invested, but the player also hearing the message has to care enough to want to go execute it. This is not Little League. This is not, you have to perform well in order to move up the ranks. They're in the ranks. They're at the top. A lot of them have contracts that have set them up for life. They will never get another contract. So it comes down to like differences in how they approach work and execution and motivation. And really, it's just on the manager's job to kind of keep it all from blowing up is essentially what the manager does these days. Couldn't agree more. So if you're looking to Shildt to be your emotional lightning rod and to reflect your mood, you're just looking in the wrong place. And I think you should, you can do whatever you want, but my advice to you would be to tune it out, to just not pay attention to that, because it's wasted energy on your part to try and hope it's going to change. It's like trying to hope that we're going to suddenly have 200 rainy days in San Diego. Like, it's not going to happen. So why are you wasting your energy worrying about that, right? And that's where it is. That's where it is for me on Mike Shildt. He is going to have zero doubt in the Padres' long-term success. What choice does he have? What choice does he have? If they have no long-term success, he's out of here. Short term.
Yeah.
So, like,
And it's hard to say, like, look, he might not be the right person for the job, but he also might be the right person and be here 10 more years. Who knows? Like, it's really got to be something that's determined internally by a number of reasons, not just wins, losses. You know, it's got to be determined by kind of the direction that they want this team to go, or, you know, how players respond to certain things. And again, it's why I have such a problem with, like, everyone was so mad at Bob Melvin, and sometimes it's what you just said. It's like it's the timing of things. It's what resources are you given. I'm not saying Bob Melvin was perfect. Jace Tingler wasn't perfect. Andy Green wasn't perfect. None of them are going to be perfect. So a lot of times it's, how does it work? Like right now it seems to work between Mike Shildt and AJ Preller, for better or worse. Like, that's kind of better than it not working, right?
Right. Right. If you want to point at anything, and you're a long-term Padre fan, since opening day 2019, the first day that Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. took a major league field for a regular season game together, since that day, this franchise is 394 wins and 390 losses. And that covers Green,
Thank you.
Tingler,
How many managers?
Melvin, and Shildt.
And Shildt. That's 4 managers. How many hitting coaches? We don't even have time.
6, 8.
Okay.
Right. 4 managers, 6 or 8 hitting coaches. Oh, blame this, blame that, blame this, blame that. These two guys are tied together for the next 10 years. And in the first 5 years, they've played 700-something games, and they're 4 games over 500. So, okay. You know, now, listen, 2019's doing some lifting in that equation right now. They went 70 and 92. In 2019. So we go, well, they're not trying to win in 2019.
Yeah,
So
their window kind of wasn't open.
Right. Peel that one out. You want to peel that one out? Okay. Well, now, 26 over 500 over 4 years, which average that out. That's about 6 games over 500 a year. It's not dominant baseball. It's not ever been dominant baseball. They had a playoff run in there. 2022, they won 2 playoff series. So you've got to look at it in the entirety, but looking at any one of these individual managers along the way is kind of silly when you look at the broader picture.
And the other thing about it is, like, as long as the players are listening to him, that's all that really matters. Like, if the players stop listening to him, or the players for some reason, and even then it's like hard to know, because there's been other collapses in that clubhouse with other managers. It's hard to know, like, how much is, because of what, right? But right now the players do listen to him, and the players do seem to be getting along and buying into what he's talking about. And so that is really the most important thing right now.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Michael King's transition from reliever to starter. How's it going? Pretty well. What does it augur for going forward? We'll discuss it. And we've got Dylan from Letters to AJ coming up in our third segment. So stay right here, Padres fans. It's Andy and Elsten on The Fan. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for 97.3 The Fan's commercial-free Padres Roundtable, featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elsten, and Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. Yeah. Looking forward to the pizza.
You get
Maybe
too
the
excited.
pizza should give press conferences because it's honest.
That's right.
Oh, no,
The
not
last
that like
honest pizza.
Not that like, just that way people could know, you know?
That's why.
The last honest press conference.
What are you saying about
Last
other?
honest-
What are you saying about the other press conferences?
What are you talking
They're
about the
not
other
honest?
pizzas? No, I'm not saying that. This is what happens. I try to make a joke. I think I'm clever. I think I'm funny, and I'm not. I'm not.
Where's the car crash sounder?
Yeah, just
All right, we got Dylan from Letters to AJ coming up. So I just wanted to put this out here. It's kind of a mid-season check-in on Michael King. Coming into this season, Michael King was one of the biggest variables for the Padres. And by the way, I just have to say, it's hilarious that so many of the Padres variables have wound up being the best possible version of that variable, and yet we're still where we are. One of those is kind of Michael King. Michael King had 9 career starts, at least last season, 9 starts coming in. He might have had like 3 or 4 in years before that. But he was a reliever, and he converted to become a full-time starter this year. He is now up to 14 starts and will make his 15th start of the season tonight. And we are approaching the halfway point. So, in fact, by the end of the week, we'll be there. So you can look at this as a halfway check-in on Michael King. He is on pace to get 30 starts and over 160 innings pitched this year. His career high in innings pitched was just over 100. He's at 83 now in 15 appearances, an average of almost 6 innings per start.
I thought it was interesting. I was looking at his stats this morning, reading about this, and he made a jump from 51 innings pitched in 2022 to 104 innings pitched in 2023. So it kind of gives you a glimpse of you can make a big chunk of innings from one year to the next. As long as you're healthy, another 50 or so innings you can do, or sometimes even 70 innings.
Yeah, and if you do it right, if you're not being, a lot of times it's been, well, a player just got completely overused, and that's where those Verducci penalty points and whatnot came into play.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of, I know what the Padres look at a lot, they've mentioned this a lot this year, is they look at stress innings. So is a player coasting versus is a player have traffic on all the time? Is a player having to make a lot of high stress pitches? They put those high stress pitches in a different category than like the normal pitches. And so they're keeping an eye on that for sure.
So here's how you could kind of break it down for Michael King so far this year. As mentioned, he's had 14 starts. He had that one relief appearance in Korea where he went, 3 innings relief in game 2. But everything else has been a start, 14 starts. He's had 6 quality starts, defined as 6 innings, 3 runs. Of those 6, only one of those loosely defined as quality, like 6 1/3 innings, 3 runs. Everything else has been a dominant start. In those 6 quote-unquote quality starts, Michael King has thrown 41 1/3 innings, almost 7 innings a start, 22 hits allowed, and just 10 walks, a whip of 0.77. ERA of 1.09, 38 strikeouts in 41 1/3 innings, and one homer allowed in those 6 great starts.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job. And you could see the improvement with him. He's been honest about it, having to go from reliever mode to starter mode when he wants to employ reliever mode within his starts and be a lot more aggressive and attack with some more velocity. And when he also knows like he's kind of wasting pitches and he's got to face a lineup the second or third time through and he doesn't want to give everything away, or even Craig, when he's knowing he's got to face a lineup 3 times and he's almost being too fine with his pitches, right?
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
attacking enough. And so he's been learning, again, like the full-time starter role, but you've seen the strides he's been making. He's been doing a good job.
Now, as we mentioned, those are 6 starts. There were 8 other starts, and if you just pour those all into the same bucket, the numbers look pretty bad. 5.87 ERA in those 8 starts. Only 38 1/3 innings pitched, so getting closer to less than 5 innings a start. 21 walks, whip of 1.6. 11 homers allowed in 38 innings is obviously a nightmare. Now, he had 2 starts where he allowed 7 home runs, 4 to the Dodgers, 3 to the Phillies.
Early on.
Earlier, for sure. And those are doing heavy lifting in his bad start bucket.
Right.
So what I prefer to look at is, okay, those were the great starts. Those were the poor starts. What are the most recent starts? In his last 5 starts, which includes some 5-inning outings that were pretty good, Michael King, 28 2/3 innings pitched, just under 6 innings a start, 20 hits, only 8 walks, whip is 0.97, 7 earned runs, a 2.20 ERA, 34 strikeouts, and most important of all, only 2 homers allowed in his last 28 2/3 innings pitched. The home run ball is everything for Michael King. He is still tied for the major league lead in home runs allowed with 13. And when he gives up bombs, he gives up a lot of runs. But when he is not giving up bombs, he can even walk a guy here or there. When his stuff is working, that he's keeping people out of the bleachers, he's been extremely effective.
What a test tonight.
Correct.
Because you've got a Phillies team that knows how to hit home runs. They have touched up Michael King a little bit in that first start. Michael King, though, has seen those hitters. They've seen him. You've got a good chess game going on. He's improved as a pitcher, and he knows, like you said, Craig, he's got to keep this team in it as long as he can, innings-wise, even if he has to wear it a little bit, which hopefully he doesn't. We've seen him go out and have some really good, 7-inning starts, right? So hopefully he's able to kind of do that tonight and give the bullpen a little bit of a break.
And so, as we look forward with Michael King, it's on one track extremely, extremely positive. He seems to be on a Seth Lugo-like progression into embracing a starter's role, embracing the length of starts, being physically completely ready for it, taking that big step forward that's going to be huge for his bank account and his career going forward. However, the Padres also still have to keep in the back of their mind, he's at 83 innings pitched. He is going to cross that career high maybe before the All-Star break, or at least before the trade deadline for sure. And the potential for late summer regression has to at least be considered. We hope it doesn't happen at all, but you have to at least think about that when you're plotting and planning as A.J. Preller.
It is so true. I mean, look, the only guys in this rotation, well, no, Dylan Cease would be one. So 2 of them are injured and hopefully are coming back. But Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, and Dylan Cease really are your only ones that have gone through full seasons as starters.
Now,
right?
I would only add that last year, Waldron, between AAA and the major leagues, had almost 140 innings pitched.
Okay.
So he should be no problem to fill out a full starter's role this year.
Should be, but it's more stressful at this level, don't
Sure,
you think?
sure.
But yeah, okay, he should be. But and honestly, Michael King, I saw, his velocity isn't dipping, his arm slot isn't becoming something that looks different, and is troubling or anything. So right now he looks like he's fine. He is someone who has talked about wanting to go 180 innings this year. I think even if they get to 150 with him, that's pretty darn good. But yeah, if this team is in October playing, you need to make sure your starters are also healthy and at their best, really.
Let's take a time out. When we come back, Dylan from Letters to AJ will join us. More smart baseball talk in our Padres Deep Dive segment. We return right after this on The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog, fresh human-grade dog food. From a healthier weight to more energy when you switch your dog's food to the Farmer's Dog. The effects can feel magical. What sorcery is this? None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/radio. Andy and Elsten back with you. Padres Deep Dive Hour continues. Let's welcome now on the 97.3 The Fan hotline, a regular contributor to the program, his Substack, Letters to AJ. Just getting the hype nowadays on 97.3 The Fan. Listen to Ben Woods all the time. Gwen and Chris, everyone's quoting him because he's one of the best analytic writers about Padres baseball that's out there. Dylan is joining us on the hotline right now. Dylan, Craig, and Annie here with you. How you going today?
Good. How you guys doing?
Well, you know, we post up every day, just like Manny. We show up whether the hip hurts, whether we have to hustle to first or not. We're going to still post up every single day. You post up quite often during the baseball season, my friend, and posted up this morning as well, asking some questions in your latest Substack, getting into it in terms of what's going on with this club right now. And it includes continuing to note that this club is just not hitting left-handed pitching.
Yeah, that seems to be a real phenomenon, not just sort of some variance, not completely explained simply by matchups. It really seems to be a roster construction issue. You have a lineup whose success for most of this season is largely predicated upon the performance of three left-handed hitters, all of whom have their performances neutralized to some degree just by the platoon matchup of facing a lefty pitcher. And the usual remedies that teams might go to overcome that are just limited because of things like injuries and demotions. So you have Luis Arias, Jake Cronenworth, and Jackson Merrill all having really nice seasons. And that's contributed to, on the whole, offense being pretty effective. And that's just not the case when you have a left-handed pitcher on the mound, let alone a very good left-handed pitcher like they've seen. But it makes for a playbook that looks like it could be exploited across the entire season unless there's some type of structural change to the lineup, or especially unless there's a big improvement from the right-handed bats that have been sputtering to date.
Right, because they've had lefties in their lineup before, and their righties have been good hitters. I mean, they've had good numbers against lefties career-wise. What do you account for that?
Some of it is facing good left-handed pitching. That even though there's a platoon advantage for right-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers, it tends to be a little bit smaller than the reverse, and that's going to be mitigated to some degree when you face really good pitchers. But the problem that we tried to point out is that there's a couple of right-handed bats in the lineup that are just not performing, irrespective of platoon matchup, but are just not performing well overall. We highlighted, this is Manny Machado, this is Luis Campusano. Those are two bats that were supposed to, be important impact bats in this lineup, and that just hasn't materialized. Mm-hmm. And what that means is, in addition to the three, left-handed bats that are kind of going to struggle against any left-handed pitching, you have two of the remaining positions where the right-handed bats, even if they get a little platoon bonus, are just not going to be highly productive when they're coming from a baseline of producing well below league average. And if that continues to be a problem all season long, you'll have this description of the lineup against left-handed pitchers that's just a very anemic version of itself, and it's not going to keep you in too many games, especially when you pair that with a pitching rotation that has been decimated by injury.
We're talking with Dylan from Letters to AJ on Annie and Elsten in our Padres Deep Dive Hour. One of the other questions that you bring up in this morning's Substack is quite simply a look at Manny Machado. And, Manny went 2 for 4 yesterday, so cool. All right, great. Had an RBI single on Sunday. Overall, however, we know he's working his way back from both the elbow injury, which has been a season-long issue, and also the hip flexor, which is a much more recent issue. And I thought what was interesting, everything's interesting, buddy, but I thought what was interesting in perspective is it's one thing. Manny's going to post up. We all know that. But the decision of where to put him from a leverage standpoint in the lineup, that's something that the Padres can look at, irrespective of whether he's going to be in there at less than 100%.
Yeah, that's something that the team can just decide to control. There's some evidence that how you construct your lineup, it does matter. It does matter who hits first, who hits second, who hits fourth. Those are typically the three most important spots in the lineup. You can take the same hitter and you position him in the fourth spot versus the sixth spot. Over the course of 162 games, you are going to have differential outcomes. And that's something they could control if they truly think, there's a persistent problem with Machado, be that health or be that some mechanical flaw in his swing that's just not letting him get to those good results that he's had in most years prior. What we wrote about is, leaving the door open that maybe the team really does think that he's healthy and that great performance is right around the corner. What I thought was pretty interesting yesterday is you had a game that got out of hand and you had a bunch of late game substitutions. You saw some of the Padres' best players coming out because the game was out of reach, but not Machado. He stayed in. And you wonder if that was, what was that? Was that a statement that Machado's healthy? Was that meant to be very visible, or was that an opportunity for the team to get a little bit more of a look at him, see him in another at bat, or is that just an opportunity for Machado to play more and get back in the swing of things? But whatever way you look at it, that's a move that you make. It suggests you think that the player's healthy, and if that's the case, then perhaps they truly do think that good performance is just right around the corner. And what we wrote is, if that's what they think, then by all means, make no changes. Keep them in the lineup, keep them in the most important spot in the lineup, and just wait for those good results to come. But that is the question they have to wrestle with. If they feel for any reason that, he's not going to get back to that typical Manny Machado performance, there is something that they can control, and that is moving him out of one of, if not the most important spot in the batting order.
Yeah, he likes to see, especially when he's struggling, he likes to see pitches. He likes to be at the plate because he feels like it's going to help him get back on track. So a number of things could have accounted for that. But yeah, it's definitely something that could be in that position in terms of just wanting to see more pitches and try to get himself back on track. You wrote about, I think, Luis Campusano a bit, right? Now he's been playing more than he has in his past seasons. That's been a little bit of talk of why maybe he's been struggling a little bit over the last month. And I think that you noticed something with his stance as well.
You kind of saw it over the course of last year, really. He was making mechanical changes to his stance. And I think, you don't give it a second thought when he was playing as well as he did last year. He was tremendous at the plate last year. And that didn't seem like any kind of fluke. It really was just the realization of what he'd done at every level of professional baseball to that point. He raked in the minors. He projected as a fantastic offensive catcher. So we just, everybody presumed we're just seeing that come to fruition in the major leagues. And as he was making mechanical changes to his swing and he kept having success, again, you just don't give that a second thought. But you saw a distinct change in his batting stance coming into spring training this year, which was a little bit alarming because it came after a big layoff where you're not quite sure where's the impetus to make lots of changes after he had such a successful year last year. And that coincided with a real performance degradation. I think something that a lot of people have pointed out is, even though Campusano got off to a nice start statistically this season, when you watch the games and you looked at the StatCast, he wasn't really crushing the ball. He was getting quite a lot of soft contact put into play that fell for hits, boosted his statistics, but didn't really paint the profile of somebody that's going to be tremendously successful all year long. And then there's been some mean regression, and now we're seeing poor statistical performance, and you just have to wonder, is it a coincidence that coincided with drastic changes to his swing? He went to an incredibly open stance with his hands starting out in front of his face most of the time, so the first action he has to do is bring his hands way back and way down to get them into a load position. And once he gets to that load position, he looks like a major league hitter, but undoubtedly that's quite a lot of noise happening before he's in position to hit. And when you're not having that success, then you have to ask those questions. Is the mechanical change behind any of the performance degradation? It'll be interesting to see if there's any changes that are made, because Dennis Lin wrote about the team having previously considered asking him to make those changes, but being reluctant to do so because he is a hard worker. Nobody denies that, and he put a lot of work into those mechanical changes. But at some point, you kind of got to wonder if that's the sunk cost fallacy.
Dylan from Letters to AJ joining us here on our Padres Deep Dive Hour on Annie and Elsten. Read him at letters to AJ with the number 2 .substack.com. Last thing here, Dylan, but something that's been kind of on my mind, maybe something for a future exploration on Letters to AJ, is the hidden impact of Xander Bogaerts' absence to the Padres lineup. I feel like there are small ways that this is being felt that maybe aren't up at the surface in terms of the biggest things that are plaguing the Padres right now. But one you brought up in your latest Substack, which is that just if Bogaerts were around, that would give Donovan Solano, for example, an opportunity to potentially platoon out one of those left-handed bats that's being asked to go every day in the lineup. It also would give Luis Arraez a little bit of a blow. I mean, Arraez has been playing hurt ever since jamming his shoulder. His WRC plus is 64, but the Padres really have no choice but to play him every day right now because without Bogaerts as that firewall, so to speak, they need him to be not only in the lineup but on the field on an everyday basis. Is this one of these things that because of his poor performance, we were kind of like, okay, well, Xander's out. We've got a guy to fill in, but now we're starting to feel those after effects?
I think that's exactly what it is. It was easy to be dismissive of the impact of the injury because he had an OPS of 581 at the time of the injury, but he had been playing very good defense. That's a loss in and of itself, but also, just as you mentioned, his presence gave so much more lineup flexibility, and that's one of the hidden sources of value in any roster construction is how flexible can you be? How resilient can you be when you have something like, Arraez has one of these in-between injuries. He's not so hurt that he has to miss time. But that would probably be good for him to be able to take a game off here and there. That would probably pay some long-term dividends in terms of him getting healthier sooner and getting back to his typical level of production. And then the platoon aspect, that's a constant through every baseball season. Every team that you play is looking to see if there's a platoon matchup that they can exploit. That's one of the controllable aspects of the Major League Baseball strategy that teams just hunt constantly. So when you lose a dynamic glove like Bogaerts, even if at the plate he hadn't been, knocking the cover off the ball all year, you've lost some of that flexibility, and you're a team that has weaknesses now that are easier to exploit. And I think, you covered all of it, but this is a real story. Is the Padres' injuries have really started to catch up with them. It's been drip fed throughout the season. But if you just take a step back and you look at, we've got Machado, Profar, and Arraez playing hurt. And then you have Darvish and Musgrove, who had separate stints on the IL, but cumulatively, they've missed a huge amount of time. And then you have Bogaerts, who's missed a massive amount of time. That's it. Just in terms, think of the dollars that are on the IL or that are playing hurt there. It's an astounding amount of the Padres' total resources that have succumbed to injury, and that manifests. It's not just the absence of the player that is the loss there. It's the loss of being dynamic, loss of being resilient, and the presentation of new weaknesses that can be exploited by opponents that are the domino effect of these injuries. I don't like talking about it. I don't think any of us like talking about it, but that's something that's really come to define much of the season thus far. And Bogaerts in particular, even though he wasn't playing great himself, boy, his loss has really been felt.
Dylan, as always, we appreciate your time on the show, and we just can't say enough about the great quality work that you've been putting out on your Substack. Let everyone know how they can read what you're doing and how they can subscribe.
Yeah, it's on Substack. It's Letters to AJ with a 2. We're also on Twitter, same handle, Letters to AJ. Twitter, I guess X is what we should be referring it to. We're on there most days. We usually put a link to our new articles on that Twitter X feed.
Appreciate you so much, man. We'll talk to you a couple weeks down the line.
Thanks, you guys.
You bet. There's Dylan. Always doing such a good job.
They have to get Manny Machado going. I think that's something that people don't always give enough credit to. They don't have another choice. You have to get Manny going. And the only way Manny can get going is if he's at the plate, he tries to hit, he tries to get himself back in form. He's not going to bench. He's not going to bench himself. The team's not going to bench him. You can move him back in the lineup, and he's already said he's okay with that. So that's something that maybe they do need to consider, is putting him out of that cleanup spot. But you're not going to you have to get Manny working, and Manny has to get working for this team to succeed. There isn't another option. So that has to be the road you're paving right now, whether he's hurt or not, unless he takes himself out of the lineup or the coaching staff or whoever, like, you cannot play. But that would be another issue in itself, and it's not to that point.
Not even close, not yet. Manny Machado is a San Diego Padre. Used to be a sentence that was always celebrated.
He can't get going on the bench. He has to get going himself.
That is exactly and 100% right. And there's your Padres Deep Dive Hour for June 18th. When we come back, 12 o'clock Sports Fix, all the big news from the sports world on Annie and Elsten here on The Fan. 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, sun shining in America's finest city. Annie and Elsten rolling into hour number 3 of the program. Welcome back, everybody. With Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet, I'm Craig Elsten in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Working our way toward Padres baseball in the city of brotherly love this afternoon, taking on the Phillies at 3:40. Sammy Levitt has the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 2:40. Gwen and Chris having a amuse-bouche for you from 2 to 2:30. But right now, we kick off hour number 3 of the program with all the news that's fit to speak. Here we go with all of your local, regional, national news. It's the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. It begins with Annie and the best of ball beat.
Over in Major League Baseball, Aaron Boone announced yesterday that Yankees ace Garrett Cole will make his 2024 season debut against Baltimore Wednesday in the Bronx. Cole has been out since spring training when an elbow injury surfaced. This is new news, just came in over the last hour. According to Jesse Rogers of ESPN, MLB sent a memo to farm directors today indicating that beginning on June 25th, all AAA games will use the automated ball strike challenge system as opposed to full ABS, which was previously used for half the week. So the memo says that the league's research indicates that both players and coaches and fans prefer a challenge system over the full automated balls and strike system. In the challenge system, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this later, challenges to calls on balls and strikes are made by the hitter or catcher in real time when the umpire is also receiving an answer to the challenge via an earpiece. I don't know how many challenges you get. You get unlimited challenges?
I am not 100% sure.
You probably get a finite number of challenges. We'll find out more about this, but it sounds like they're continuing to move toward an automated balls and strike system, although Commissioner Rob Manfred has said the move is still at least another season away from happening, and it sounds like it'll likely be this challenge system and not just automation completely. Yu Darvish will make a rehab start Wednesday in Fort Wayne. The likely goal for him is about 75 pitches. Darvish last pitched on May 29th before being placed on the injured list with a left groin strain. He had told reporters he expected to be able to return after throwing 60 pitches in a bullpen Friday in New York, but the Padres prefer he gets an outing in a game situation so he can pretty much come back without limitations. So he will likely be back at home against the Nationals. Rookie Adam Mazur will get at least one more start. That is expected to be Thursday against the Brewers. Padres lost to the Phillies 9-2 at Citizens Bank Park yesterday at 37-39 record. They have the same record as last year after 76 games, and they will try to avoid their 5th consecutive loss today as they face right-hander Aaron Nola. Nola has allowed 7 runs, 6 earned over 23 2/3 innings in his past 3 starts against the Padres. San Diego will have Michael King on the mound. He allowed 6 runs on 6 hits and 3 walks in 5 1/3 innings in a loss to the Phillies in late April. That was in San Diego, but he's allowed just 3 home runs over his last 8 starts. First pitch, 3:40 p.m.
Time for Braden with today's baseball scoreboard.
Well, good thing it's a righty. That's the good news. The bad news is it's
He will not
Aaron
throw
Nola.
left-handed.
Which righty is it? Oh,
Well, yeah, maybe he could throw left-handed like Tyler Glasnow did against the Padres.
yes.
Pirates over the Reds yesterday, 4-1 down in Miami. It was the Cardinals beating the Marlins in extra innings, 7-6. North of the border, the Red Sox took care of the Blue Jays, 7-3. Down in Atlanta, the Braves double up the Tigers, 2-1. At the north side, it was the Giants outlasting the Cubs, 7-6. Down in Texas, New York Mets continue their Grimace streak. They win their 7th consecutive game since Grimace threw out the first pitch in New York. They have now brought the Grimace on the road. The Grimace love
God.
as the Mets beat the Rangers 14-2 in Texas.
Whatever works for your team, I guess.
Asking
right.
Mickey D's to return
Yeah.
the Grimace shake. Like, we need to eat Grimace shake.
Oh, that's a good call.
Pretty yummy.
Dodgers over the Rockies in the Rocky Mountains 9-5. 32,000 to watch Paxton pitch against Quantrill in Colorado, and the Angels shined the halo bright last night. The halo was shining bright last night as they beat the Brewers 5-3 in Anaheim. That's a look at the out-of-town score. It is possible to win that game, to win there, I guess, for the Angels.
Who knew?
Yeah, apparently it's just National League teams that don't do well in Anaheim. Padres and the Brewers. That'll do it for me. Here's Craig with the NBA.
Here we go for the last time. This placement within the fix.
Enjoy it while you can.
It's been here since January. It's about to move. It's time to talk NBA. We told you yesterday on the fix that a great shooting performance by the Boston Celtics would surely end the 2024 NBA Finals and send Boston to their 18th championship. And last night's first half was exactly that. The Celtics came out in their classic green uniforms. Soon as I saw that, I'm like, yep, it's over. And they poured in 67 first-half points. The last 3 from Peyton Pritchard from beyond half court.
4 seconds to go. Missed free throw. 4 for the rebound. Here's Pritchard. He loves these. Puts it up half court to the buzzer. Bang! Pritchard at the buzzer with a three-pointer. He's done it again.
A lot of high-fivings going on.
Yeah.
Not awkward ones like Ben Higgins, just like real high fives. Yeah, that gave the Celtics a 21-point lead. They came out a little bit colder in the second half, but it did not matter. Cruising to a 106-88 win and their 18th NBA title. Here's Mike Breen with the final call.
All the sacrifice, handling the enormous weight of massive expectations, ends tonight here. It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. The Celtics are NBA champions.
Fun as the PA guy to be able to do that. Great feeling. Everyone's hugging. High fives. Hug. Hug. Championship banner flown.
There it is.
Jaylen Brown won the Bill Russell Finals MVP award. For the finals, he averaged 20.8 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Brown, who knows Bill Russell's still around, the Celtics still alive, moved by the honor of being named Bill Russell Finals MVP.
Oh.
Jaylen, knowing what Bill Russell meant to you and to have this moment in your life and your career tied to him in that way, what does that mean?
To be honest, I can't even put it into words. Just Bill Russell and what he's meant for me through my Boston journey, and his spirit, everything that he stood for, just for this to be the Bill Russell MVP award, and it just, I got nothing, man. I don't even know what to say. It's unreal.
Jaylen, knowing...
I slightly misspoke. Bill Russell, who passed away in 2022, but spent several years with Jaylen Brown. He was around the Celtics throughout that, moving Jaylen Brown almost to tears in that moment. And now the NBA offseason begins. First salvo fired, boop. Jeff Van Gundy has taken the lead assistant coach job under Tyronn Lue to help coach the LA Clippers next year. Van Gundy, who was relieved as ESPN's #1 analyst prior to last season, was working behind the scenes with the Boston Celtics this season.
Interesting.
And he's going to get a championship ring as a result of what he did. Now he's going to try and do it at the new Intuit Dome with the Clippers. There's your NBA story.
Are you happy with this ending?
Never. The Celtics won.
Oh. It wasn't very, like as far as championship games go.
Yeah, it stunk.
Yeah.
total dog of the final series.
Like they didn't go back and forth very much.
No competitive
once.
game. One game almost a little competitive. Like that's the best you can look at is that one game was kind of competitive.
Okay.
Otherwise, Boston was the best team. Boston won. Boston won 80 games. Boston was the best team.
Hey, sometimes that's good for the sport. The best team wins the championship.
Absolutely. Will that be the case in the NHL? Sorry, New York Mike. Knicks won't be there. But here's the Stanley Cup Finals report with Annie.
Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight in Sunrise, Florida, where the Florida Panthers have a chance to win and lift the cup for the first time in franchise history. That means 13-year-old Panthers fan Ethan has a chance to fulfill his lifelong dream. Let's listen.
You're here and supporting the Panthers. What does this mean to you?
This is a monumental moment in my life. I have been here since day one of my birth, 2011, and I just can't wait to see my team happily host the cup. Wow! Let's go!
It might be Ethan's night tonight. Ethan isn't alone. How about 8-year-old Bryson, also known as the Panthers' shirtless weapon? He's even traveled to Canada to continue his bare torsoed push for a Stanley Cup.
Here comes Bryson.
Who taught you how to flex?
My brain.
At just 8 years old, South Florida native and Panthers superfan Bryson Rosen has quickly gone viral for his in-game antics, doing his best to distract the opposing team.
Right behind the bench, flexing on the coaches. That's what I like to do. Make sure that every single team Panthers play will lose.
Already got his trash talk game down, ready to go.
Oh, Oilers, and I say McDavid is trash.
How are you feeling about the Stanley Cup?
Easy work.
A lot of people might consider you the #1 fan. Do you like to take that title too as the biggest Panthers fan?
Of course, because I'm a boss. Go Panthers!
If you want to know how Florida man is made.
The fact that this is like a news package is amazing to me. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you have championships. You get to... all kinds of stories become stories.
Indeed.
All kinds of 8-year-olds. Okay, with all this weird kid power behind them, can the Panthers be stopped? Face Off is at 5:30 p.m. tonight. Ethan will be there. Bryson will be there.
Will you be there?
I don't know.
You're not going down to Florida right now?
I mean, you could be there on the TV. You could watch games on ESPN.
You're going to see him like 20 years later, like wrestling a gator.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a boss.
That's how Florida man is created.
My
I'm
team
a boss.
won, and now I wrestled the gator.
Easy work. He goes, what do you think of the finals? Easy work.
Easy work.
McDavid is trash.
Oh, my
Trash.
Lord. Here's Braden. The College World Series are heating up.
That's right. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Last night, what was that, Monday? Last night, Texas A&M took down Kentucky by the score of 5-1 to take over as the lead team in bracket number 2. They will now have to be beat twice by the losers bracket, as there will be 2 games today. Kentucky and Florida will be underway at 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, as the Gators, who had knocked off NC State yesterday 5-4, advanced to play Kentucky in an elimination game. The winner of that game will play Texas A&M on Wednesday, and will have to beat them twice if they want to go to the College World Series finale. North Carolina and Florida State just got underway not too long ago. Florida State had defeated Virginia to knock them out of the tournament 7-3. North Carolina and Florida State, winner will take on Tennessee and will have to beat the Volunteers twice before going to the College World Series. That game will be tomorrow before at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Again, Tennessee and Texas A&M lead the way in bracket 1 and 2. North Carolina and Florida State were both sent to the losers bracket by Tennessee, so a rematch could be possible. Same results for Texas A&M. They knocked both Kentucky and Florida to the losers bracket, as we are now down to 2 ACC schools and 4 SEC schools left at the College World Series. That will do it for me. Here's Craig Elsten.
Here we go with the rest of your sports world. San Diego Legion were in action yesterday in Illinois. They lost In Chicago, 22-16, falling to 9-5 on the season, but still in playoff position. They host Houston Sunday afternoon at Snapdragon Stadium. Let's take a look at the Euro 2024 scoreboard, where right now there is one match in progress. 16 minutes in, Portugal and the Czech Republic are scoreless. Earlier today, Turkey beat Georgia 3-1, which is a place in Russia, not a place in the U.S. France yesterday over Austria 1-0. However, French superstar Kylian Mbappe suffered a broken nose. He is likely to miss the next group stage match for France. Slovakia over Belgium as well, 1-0. And then we wrap up with Rory McIlroy, who left the U.S. Open, his tires spinning as he came out of the parking lot, got out of there with no comment. Well, today, Rory McIlroy made a comment. He did what you do when you screwed up, which is you write a note on your iPhone.
Oh, he did not write a note on his iPhone. Are you serious?
He wrote a note on his iPhone.
That makes him more of a heel.
Yeah, you can even pull the music on
God.
this.
At least
we're done with the music.
At least do like an Instagram video post or something.
Nope. Instagram posting of his iPhone note.
Rory.
That's why I never liked Rory. Fake nice guy.
Would you like to hear Rory McIlroy's iPhone note?
Do I have a choice?
No, I'm going to read it either way.
Okay.
That's so soft.
But you can tell me if you don't like it. It's fine.
Soft.
He says, yesterday was a tough day. I'm not going to do it in a Scottish accent.
Please do it.
Please someone play a violin for
Yesterday
him.
was a tough day. Probably the toughest I've had in my nearly 17 years as a professional golfer. This is terrible. Yesterday was a tough day. Probably the toughest I've had in my nearly 17 years as a professional golfer. Firstly, that's very Scottish. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Bryson. He is a worthy champion and exactly what professional golf needs right now. I think we can all agree on that. As I reflect on my week, I'll rue a few things. He's very Scottish. I'll rue a few things over the course of the tournament. Northern Ireland, to be accurate, is where he's from. Mostly the 2 missed putts on 16 and 18 on the final day. Yeah, you're going to regret that the rest of your life.
You're going to rue that, buddy.
Yeah, you're going to rue that until you die. But as I always try to do, I'll look at the positives of the week that far outweigh the negatives. As I said at the start of the tournament, I feel closer to winning my next major championship than I ever have. The one word I would describe my career is resilient. I've shown my resilience over and over again in the last 17 years, and I will again. I'm going to take a few weeks away, the game, to process everything and build myself back up for my defence of the Genesis Scottish Open and the Open at Royal Troon. See you in Scotland. Deuces. Put up the deuce emoji.
Okay, but there was no, not that he needed to apologize, but there was no mention of typically that the loser does shake hands or whatever, right? There was no mention of that.
No.
This
No
was
press
a very
conference.
propaganda-ish.
Peeled away.
Now, look, you can do that when you're as good as he is and you have the money he does and you don't need to answer to really anyone, but okay.
Northern Ireland's Rory McIlroy.
He's going to retreat to his castle in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, I have never seen, we talked about this yesterday. We're going to go to break in a second. We're going to talk ball strike challenge when we get back, but I have never, I'm truly trying to remember. And if someone out there, or if either of you in here, or anyone in the chat can give me a great example of this, I'd love it. I've never seen two people reverse their roles within the ecosystem of a sport.
That wasn't the WWE.
Right, in a span of an hour.
Right.
In a span of literally an hour. Like Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau, who far more people in the golf world were rooting against than rooting for. Throughout the day. Rory, 2 shots up at 15. Golf world behind him. Everyone behind him.
Yes.
Everyone behind him. An hour later, DeChambeau holding the cup. DeChambeau engaging with the audience. DeChambeau pure celebration, honesty. Rory McIlroy, black cloud over his head. Heel turn, literal heel turn. Spinning out of the scoring tent, going straight to the parking lot, driving out, and now leaving us an iPhone note.
You know what's crazy is we don't know either way. I mean, Bryson DeChambeau could have been doing all that for publicity and could be a jerk in behind the scenes, and Rory McIlroy could have been sobbing in his car driving off and be really the nicest. I mean, who knows? But he played to the public opinion, that's for sure. Bryson did, and sometimes that's all that's what you need to do, and that elevates you pretty fast. And Rory left us an iPhone note, which is never advisable.
No.
Okay,
it's tough. When you get to that spot, you're in a bad spot.
You gotta, it's better to just at least do some kind of presser or maybe just at least do a video message, or I don't know.
He could have absolutely, although it, what's her name? The Golf Channel reported that he was linked to
Amanda.
That's what I thought.
She works for CBS.
Right? Yeah, CBS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and said, Amanda, do an interview with me.
100%.
Yeah.
He could have had,
and it would have been a very sided,
a 1v1.
Yes.
I'm contrition. I should have been there. It's my mistake. I should have. I'm gonna always regret not shaking his hand. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been. That would have been at least something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to reconcile in my mind, at Royal Troon, am I going to root for Rory? I've rooted for him every single major this year. He came super close once. This time he had it in his hands. He let it go. That's a tragic story. Somebody who, I mean, I had, when we kind of were spitballing this yesterday, I had a number in my head and was completely wrong. The real number is ridiculous. He had made 394 consecutive putts inside 4 feet in professional play.
So he had done it a million times.
Yeah, well, 394
times.
394 times. But yeah, I mean, 394 times in a row.
Yeah.
And then he missed 2 in a row.
I mean, his track record is really good, but those 2 are going to haunt him. That's the thing about sports. It's the thing about any job, right? You always think about the stuff that you didn't do more than all the times that you did make it.
Right. And, Alex Montoya reminds us, be happy for what we have, not for what we missed or what we don't have. But nonetheless, I'm just telling you, it's one of the most dramatic turns I've ever seen in my life. Today, Bryson DeChambeau, the feeling around him is, man, I really wish Liv and PGA would get together because I want to see this guy play more.
Yeah.
And I want to see him interact with the stars of the game. And I want to see him at all the elevated events. I want to see him back playing those PGA tournaments that are so exciting and are so historic. I want to see him at Torrey Pines. I want to see him at Doral. I want to see him at Sawgrass. I want to see him in Phoenix. All of these tournaments that we look forward to every single year, as opposed to 4 majors. And then, he's in some live event that you can watch on KUSI this weekend. But no one's watching. No one's watching. No one cares. It's on the CW. No one cares. No one cares. So it's just crazy to me that this one day, and now Rory is in the tank, in the crosshairs, and Bryson DeChambeau is just the people's champion. The people's champion.
It's wild.
It really is. It's a wrestling heel turn, is what just happened. Couldn't be better for the sport of golf, honestly, Braden.
It's great. It's great, but I don't know. He's always kind of given me. He's never given me genuine vibes from watching the Full Swing video, the documentary or whatever show.
Yeah.
To it's just everything just seems so forcibly fake, and you always see everybody's true colors when they're at their worst. And right now, he's having a rough month in his life, and he is not the self-righteous great guy right now, as we have seen before, and you get to see the guy's true colors. And right now, it's not very good. Not to say he can't change it, but this is who he is. And it's an unfortunate heel turn for a guy like Rory that has always been the self-righteous prince of golf of the PGA Tour.
And he said it during the Fix, a big change coming to AAA, and it is 100% a precursor for what's coming to the major leagues. We're going to talk about the automatic ball strike challenge system when we come back, Annie and Elsten, and then we play match game the segment after. So 12 o'clock hour on fire here, Annie and Elsten on the Fan. What's baseball really like? Nobody knows except for Brett Boone. Join the former Padre and MLB All-Star and his big league friends on his podcast, The Boone Podcast. 3 days a week, Brett talks with Hall of Famers, fellow All-Stars, and friends to get their take on today's game and to relive their greatest stories from when they played. Follow The Boone Podcast in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, do that thing. Somewhat shorter segment here. We're getting geared up and ready for match game, which will be today's silly game, always one of our favorite segments of the week. Adam Klug will be joining us on our Celebrity All-Star panel. We are also excited to be joined for the first time by On the Reg Greg.
Hey.
Greg Ranieri.
Greg Ranieri in the house.
KSON midday host will be joining us. So continuing to expand our list of all-star celebrity panelists. So we'll be looking for 2 contestants shortly. If you want to jump in, you can, 833-2880-973, as we need 2 contestants to play the game. That'll be next segment. I thought we could bounce a little bit off what you put into the fix in terms of AAA. This announcement just today, right?
Just today, a few hours ago, came out.
That AAA is going to adopt the automatic ball strike challenge system in the second half of the season.
And it will be fully used. So they were using the ABS system like half the week. But now they're like, nope, we're all using this in AAA, this challenge system, which I still don't have a full grasp on. Do you?
Well, the way it works is very similar to a pair of sports where this has been seamlessly integrated, which is tennis and volleyball.
Okay.
In both of those sports, just think about tennis, right? You're watching Wimbledon, and they have the service, and it's called out, and then it's just like a little flicker of the tennis racket.
Mm-hmm.
The Djokovic is like, nope, challenge. And then they go to the Hawkeye, and you see the thing go, oh, it was out. Okay. Right? And it just takes like a few seconds. Everyone's used to it. There's no controversy.
The VAR, right?
Yeah, VAR in soccer, right? But in that case, that's an official's challenge that comes from a booth. But in volleyball, for example, when I was watching our beloved San Diego Mojo, right? Mm-hmm. There would be a play and the ball would be ruled out and they would do a little challenge and say, we think there was a block. We think there was a block touch on the net. And then they would go and they'd have high-def cameras and they'd show, okay, definitively no block touch. Okay, challenge is overruled.
So I'm looking at Baseball America, and it says in the international leagues, teams have only 2 challenges per game. Any successful challenge does not count. So just like we see with regular umpire challenge, like is a guy out or safe at plate? God, at home, at second. Come on, you guys know what I mean. All right. I'm saying that to myself. Okay. Yeah. And then
talking to the voices in your head.
Right. The Pacific Coast League will continue to have 3 unsuccessful challenges per game. So
you get 3 shots.
3 shots. And I because if you're mid plate appearance, do you get to say, like, is this called by the player? Is this called by
the player's going to tap their helmet. Just like that.
Do you have seniority on who gets to do that?
That is a great question and one I don't have the answer to.
Because if you only have 3, like, I guess there'll have to be some kind of discussion amongst teams how you want to use those.
Did they say 3 for the game or 3 an inning?
3 for the game. 3 for the game.
That's interesting.
So you want to maybe use them, I guess, in very high-pressure moments where you can maybe have a chance to score a run, or it's the difference between the inning being over and I don't know, though. I mean,
but if you're right, you get it back?
Yeah, you get it back. So you should use it every time you're right.
And this is also to not completely let go of the human element, right? Like the umpires still call the pitches, but this system, I guess, will be the one that makes the decision, I guess.
Well, so the ump is going to call the strike.
Right.
And then now, so he calls a strike on Eggy at AAA, and then Eggy goes, nope, that was a ball. And then immediately his earpiece will be like, yep, that was a ball.
Okay. So the computerized system will still be the thing that sways it from one side to the other.
Correct.
What's interesting about that is they were talking about the issues that they were having with the computerized system and the fact that, like, it wouldn't regulate the box based on the guy's height well enough. So hopefully they've figured that out, Yeah,
didn't they have the issues with, like, balls bouncing in the dirt?
They had issues with the automated system not being good, essentially. Not.
Yeah, they were wrong on a lot of different things.
Right.
I think it was that. It was like the balls that bounce in the dirt would mess with it, and a couple other things based on some pitchers I know that have dealt with this before in the past.
But the good things is we'll see it play out completely for a whole half of a season, right, at AAA. And so they'll get some kinks worked out, and then I'm sure we'll get a million stories on what's working and what's not working, because they will not be shy about talking about that. And, well, I don't know, maybe MLB will make them be shy about talking about it, but either way, stuff will come out, and so we'll kind of be able to get a sense of now. Rob Manfred has said he doesn't want this to be brought to the big leagues until after next year, but I don't know. Do you get the sense that they're trying to?
Well, I think that's exactly right. And this is perfect because now you can do a year and a half in AAA because. Sorry, AAA fans. The games are completely meaningless. There's absolutely nothing to be gained or lost by El Paso winning or losing any one game or any 50 games for that matter. So down there, if there is a kink in the system, a ball one-hopped and ticked a corner of the thing, and then ABS called it a strike and somebody challenged it. Like, those are the kind of things that'll get hashed out where a AAA manager gets thrown out or a AAA announcer gets mad, and that's it. And that's truly no impact on the game.
And Baseball America has this, which I think sums it up pretty well. The challenge system is viewed as allowing the most egregious calls to be reversed while still allowing catchers to continue to include receiving and pitch presentation, so pitch framing, as a key aspect of their work behind the plate. Also, obviously ensures that umpires, I guess, keep their jobs, right?
Sure, right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess so the letter of the law, this will be like your big egregious calls, but like you don't know when those are coming. So I guess you got to figure out a way to best use those throughout a game.
Well, here's why the umpires hate this so much. Like, CB Buckner is going to be out of a job 1 year after automatic ball strike challenge system is in place, because if that was in place Saturday in New York, it would have fundamentally changed the game. Because 3 different times, Jose Quintana early in that start threw a first pitch curveball like 3 inches off the plate, and it was ruled strike 1, and it completely changed the at bat. Now it's going to be so quick, it's going to be boop, nope, sorry. And when you've got an umpire who gets like 11 reversed calls in a game, or is averaging 6 reversed calls in a game, that's going to be a stat everyone can track.
No, you're right. Like, because the thing is that if it turns out that the pitch that was called a ball is a strike or vice versa, you get to keep the challenge. So you can just keep going. So by the end of the game, you're right. You could have 11, 15. You could, the guy could be completely humiliated because you keep calling him because you keep getting them in your favor.
Right. I mean, and that will, by nature, drive, tenured umpires who are terrible out of the sport. Angel Hernandez left the sport, but CB Buckner didn't. And CB Buckner is actually way worse than Angel Hernandez. He's just less confrontational. Like, Laz Diaz is terrible at calling balls and strikes. He's awful, and he gets into fights with players all the time because he's terrible at it. But when they have the ability, it's going to also take getting thrown out of the game. It's going to literally take it out of the game, other than plays at bases. And even then you get reversals. So, like, it instead of Mike Shildt and Manny Machado getting thrown out, they're just going to tap their head. It's going to be auto-reversed, and it's on the ump.
Can the opposing, I don't think the opposing team can call, right? Like, say their pitcher.
No, absolutely. The catcher can be like, no, that was a strike.
Okay, so the catcher or the hitter.
Yeah.
So you can come, okay, then, I mean, yeah, like that can completely change the complexion of, because now your umpire has to be better.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're going to keep getting reversed over and over again. So it's going to help the game. They're going to get the kinks out, and then it's going to supremely help the sport.
Yeah. That's good.
I can't wait to see it, not only that. So the umpires are going to be better, but there's going to be a lot of guys that think, because there's a lot of times where players think they're like, oh, there's no way that's a strike, and then on the pitch tracks you see on TV, it's dotted on the corner, and they're all upset. That's going to be interesting too. I mean, imagine like one of the players on the other team checking, getting it wrong, checking, getting it wrong, checking, getting it wrong 3 straight times the same at bat.
I mean, it's interesting, Braden, because like the box isn't correct all the time on TV,
it's not.
Right?
They all change.
But and so I tend to think that the hitter knows, like the hitter seems to know. But you're right, there'll be those ones on the corners that the hitter thinks that they have, but they don't. Or vice versa.
They have like it's funny. I was never. It looks accurate enough, but on TV, everybody just says it's not accurate, it's not official, and then people go, yeah, whatever, it's technology, it should be accurate. But if you compare TV broadcasts, if you take the same at bat from like the Rockies feed and the Padres feed with the box, even that's different.
Yeah.
It's different between the two broadcasts. If you flip back and forth, it's not the same for these different teams for different players that come up. So you know that thing's not 100% accurate. It'd probably be better. A lot of people complain about it just because they have the box. If you got rid of the box, I don't think people would complain about balls and strikes as much watching on TV.
Tyler in the chat brings up that Arizona Thursday night game when Paul Sewald punched out Crony with tying run, winning run on base, and the pitch was 2 balls outside. That just doesn't end the game anymore. But the last thing, we got to go to break for match game, but I bet there's going to be a fight in the clubhouse at some point when some dumb player wastes 2 challenges and everyone knew that they weren't the right pitches. And then they're like, dude, you wasted our challenges.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got it because it's like part of you is like you hold on to those till later in the game. But no, your defining runs could come early in the game or your defining inning could come early in the game. And, a guy that's seen a million pitches or a veteran that doesn't want to be shown up at the plate or a rookie that thinks, who knows? Like,
veteran on a 1 for 25 slump that's ego is hurting. They're like, no, I didn't get punched out. Like, no, you totally got punched out, dude. And you cost us a challenge.
Right. And as a rookie, are younger players, will there be like a seniority system where you got to eat that, buddy? Like
the drama and the tea is going to be next level.
Oh my gosh, I'm now super looking forward to this. I'm also looking forward to Match Game. It's our silly game. It is played next. We've got a couple of callers on hold. If you want to try and usurp them, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we play the most fun game on 97.3, and one of you is going to win. Maybe both of you will win and be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize drawing at the end of the month, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, tickets to either Hootie and the Blowfish or Smashing Pumpkins at the Blue Live Theater, and a $150 poolside dining credit. Summer room packages and tickets are available now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. Match Game next on The Fan. It's time for Match Game. It's 12:48. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. It's the segment you've all been waiting for. Get ready to match the stars. Hold for new bumper. There it is. Get ready to match the stars. Annie Heilbrunn.
Hello.
On the Reg Greg.
Hey.
Adam Klug.
What's up, guys?
Braden Suprenant.
What's up?
And I'm your host, Gene Rayburn. Welcome to Match Game 97.3. This is your chance to qualify for our end-of-the-month grand prize drawing, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, tickets to either Hootie and the Blowfish or Smashing Pumpkins at the Blue Live Theater. Choices, and $150 poolside dining credit. Summer room packages and tickets available now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. One of these two contestants will be our winner. Let's start things off with Johnny in make it Tony. Yeah, Johnny, all right.
It's Tony.
It's Tony. I thought it was Tony.
It was Tony. I hit the wrong one.
Tony.
Okay, that's all right. Tony in Fallbrook. Hi, Tony. Welcome to Match Game. Tony.
Maybe it's not going to be Tony.
No.
Oh, no.
Right here.
There it
Hey!
It's a long way from Fallbrook.
What's going on, guys and gals?
Tony, thanks for playing. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm in sales, and today I'm in Rancho Santa Fe and had a quick break, so I figured I'd try to call in.
Well, you're on, and you are playing against Susie in Kensington. Susie, welcome to Match Game.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Susie.
Oh, longtime suffering Padres fan.
Yes.
Hoping for the best, and I love you guys in your show. And Braden, you rock. I love your take on stuff.
Oh,
Thank you.
Shout out Susie.
You're welcome.
Tony.
And Annie, I miss you on the field. You were great.
Thank you so much, Susie. I appreciate that.
All right, Tony,
Yeah,
Susie, you're playing Match Game. Here's how it's going to work. It's very
Lord.
simple. It's very, very simple, guys. Here's it's going to work. There's 2 rounds, 2 questions, 1 question per contestant per round. Very simply, you're going to hear me read the question. Braden will play the silly music, very similar to what you're hearing now, and our panelists will be writing down on their whiteboards their best answer to the question. Then when they are done and tell me that they're ready, I will repeat the question to you, and I will get your answer. Every time you get a match with our all-star celebrity panel, you're going to do great, Susie. Don't worry. Every time you get a match, you get a point. At the end of 2 rounds, who's ever in front is the winner. If it's tied, we have a tiebreaker. That's how the match game works. All right, Tony, you called in first. You're contestant A. So it's round 1, and you get the option. Would you like question A or question B?
Let's go with B.
Question B it is. All right. Tony, Susie, stand by silently. Panelists.
All right, here we go.
Round 1, question B. Y'all need to lock in. Lock in. Here we go. Herb has the world's longest tongue. When he goes to bed at night, he ties it around his blank. Herb has the world's longest tongue.
Where did you come up with this one?
I found it off a list. When he goes to bed at night, he ties it around his blank. By the way, all characters appearing in Match Game questions on Match Game 97.3 are fictional, and any resemblance to anybody living or dead, including the man with the world's longest tongue, is completely coincidental. Panelists, let me know verbally when you have an answer.
Got one.
Got it.
Everyone's got an answer. Okay.
Should have
Tony?
gone with question A.
I don't know. Tony, I turn back to you. Herb has the world's longest tongue. When he goes to bed at night, he ties it around his...
I'm going to go with
You're going to go with what?
neck.
Neck. Ties it around his neck.
Rough.
Absolutely one of the answers I thought of as a possible answer to this question. Annie Heilbrunn, we're looking for neck.
I have bedpost.
Bedpost
so
is the other one.
Fall out of bed.
Bedpost is an easy one. Greg Ranieri.
Also bedpost.
Bedpost. Adam Klug.
Don't quote me on this one. Nose.
So he's got the world's longest tongue and a nose worth wrapping around. This man has got unusual features. Braden?
I put waist.
Waist. You can barely read it because his dry erase is off, but you've got the ability to basically cheat today because we can't read what you write. So it's very good. All right, no matches for you right there, Tony, but it's okay. You're going to get a second chance. Susie, it's your turn. Stay there and listen as I now present to the panelists round 1, question A. Dumb Dino is so dumb.
How dumb is he?
How dumb is he?
He's so dumb.
Thanks, Annie.
Yeah.
Thanks for participating.
He's so dumb. Instead of putting grape jelly on his peanut butter sandwiches, he uses blank jelly. Dumb Dino is so dumb. Instead of putting grape jelly on his peanut butter sandwiches, he uses blank jelly. Now keep in mind, he's Dumb Dino. So,
Changing my answer.
Dumb Dino.
I got an answer. It's as dumb as Dino is.
Perfect. All right.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Greg Ranieri. It's a family show.
Greg Ranieri's
Keep
got
your
it.
answer.
All right. Okay, Susie, I turn back to you and give you the prompt to answer. Dumb Dino is so dumb. Instead of putting grape jelly on peanut butter sandwiches, he used blank jelly. What jelly, Susie?
Petroleum jelly.
Petroleum jelly. I think that's a great answer. Good answer, Susie. Let's go to Annie Halbrun.
Petroleum, Susie, I'm with you.
That's a match. Greg Ranieri.
Well, I would have said petroleum if I thought I could spell it, so I went with KY.
Which is a petroleum jelly. That counts as a match.
Easier to spell KY.
Yeah.
Adam.
So I originally had strawberry jelly, but I figured Dumb Dino, so I erased it and went petroleum jelly.
Oh, Braden.
Oh, what? Peanut jelly.
Peanut jelly.
Peanut jelly.
Which I've never heard of. I don't know. But Susie, you've got 3 matches. That's in this game.
Look at me.
Yeah, this is known as a dominant lead.
Look at you, Susie.
That's a first inning grand slam right
I'm
there.
staining my fence and I'm making matches. This is great.
This is outstanding. And guess what, Susie? You get to go first in the second round because you are
Lord,
contestant B. So would you like question A or question B?
Let's go with A.
All right, you got it. All right, Susie, we're going to put you back on hold for a moment. And panelists, here we go. Umpire Angel is home all the time, but his wife isn't too happy. Every time they make whoopee, he yells blank. Umpire Angel is home all the time, and his wife isn't too happy. Every time they make whoopee, he yells blank. A few ways you can go here.
Yeah.
Couple obvious ones. Callers, or pardon me, panelists, let me know.
Total coincidence here.
Yeah. Umpire Angel is just a fictional character, just like Dumb Dino or Herb with the world's longest tongue. They all, there's no one Herb. They're all fictional characters. That's my point. They all live in the same fantasy universe together called Match Game Verse. Panelists, everyone got an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Susie, back to you, my friend. Umpire Angel is home all the time, but his wife's not too happy. Every time they make whoopee, he yells,
You're out.
"You're out!" Annie?
I'm with Susie. You're out.
You're out. It's a match.
Domination.
Yes.
Domination. Greg?
Well, I forgot this was a sports show, and I just said, ouch.
That's what he says when he gets hit by a ball.
Adam?
Right.
That's
What
right.
about her? Or
Ball.
I was thinking about that.
It was either ball or strike, and with the nature of the question, I went ball.
Yes. Yes.
I
And
also
Braden.
put what Annie put. You're out.
You're out.
Wow.
And Susie.
Is that
Nice.
5 matches?
Susie, that means you win. You win the game.
Wow.
That's the
There's only 4
fastest match
panelists.
game we've ever
Oh, you're
had.
not doing it today.
No.
Wow.
I think that's got to be an all-time record.
That is an all-time record. Susie, you did it. Congratulations. Tony, better luck next time. I believe in you. You just ran into a buzzsaw today named Susie in Kensington.
Tony and Susie should call back another time.
Absolutely.
Susie, we need to just hear your opinions every few days.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Become regulars, both of you. On the Reg, Greg, thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Listen to him middays on KSON when you're not listening to us. You can share the Odyssey
share
love.
the love. Share
Flop
the
back
love.
and forth.
Yeah.
We got the rewind feature on both apps.
That's exactly right. Adam, thank you as always, my friend.
You're welcome.
We're back with hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten next, right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back. Hour number 4 of the program. We are all still just basking in the glow of Susie's match game domination today.
I feel a little bad because what was the other caller's name?
Tony.
Tony was great.
Tony was fine.
But
Tony was
Susie
good.
was just, I mean, she showed up.
Tony never had a chance.
No.
Never had a chance.
Nope.
Susie's commentary was just really driving the whole thing.
And by the way, she was so excited about winning and having the most dominant match game performance in history, she celebrated by hanging up and not qualifying for the prize. So, Susie, if you're still listening, we'd love for you to call back and qualify for our end of the month drawing. But if that doesn't matter, if you were just there for the glory of the moment, then you may continue with your afternoon as planned because you did it.
Is the prize, what's the prize again?
It's that
Oh, Susie, you
2-night
should
stay at
call
Fontainebleau,
back.
concert tickets,
Put yourself into the running.
poolside food credit.
Yes.
Like I could see Susie basking in the sun
So
by the
can
pool
I.
at the Fontainebleau. 100%. She was painting the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Why not paint her toes instead and hang out at the pool? You know, like let's go. So Susie, call back if you want. Only you. we'll do more call in at the end of the hour. Resetting some of the topics of the day. Well, the San Diego Padres lost their 8th straight game on the road. It's a thing that happened. They got blown out in Philadelphia. It was not great. Just wasn't great. They faced Christopher Sanchez. Christopher Sanchez made it through 7 innings, gave up a couple of runs. Once again, kept everybody in the yard. Christopher Sanchez has now thrown 77 innings and allowed 1 home run this year for Philadelphia.
Think about how crazy that is.
In Philly?
1 home. Yeah, that's a ballpark that gives up home runs. But even there, even on the road, I mean, 1 home run. Where was it? Do you know? Was it in Philly?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, I just don't have
It's one or the other for sure.
Yeah, it was either in Philly or out of it. But either way, 1 home run over. Now, it would be different if he was like giving up, I guess, runs left and right. And, he, for some reason, he was one of those weird baseball things where he didn't give up the long ball, but he was just like, had an ERA of, 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah.
But no, he's just a good pitcher. Like he just to not give up a home run is wild in this league where people are so good, hitters are so good, and you're just bound to do it every once in a while.
Randy Vasquez, meanwhile, continued his trend. He continued to get nuked by the left-handed hitters in the Philly lineup. Mm-hmm. He didn't make it through 4, and at the end of his outing, now left-handed. My God. I just looked this up. Left-handed batters are now slashing against Randy Vasquez. 465, 507 on base, 732 slugging. That's a tidy 1,239 OPS. 507 slug on base. If you are a left-handed hitter and you step into the box against Randy Vasquez, 51% of the time you reach base.
We've got a lineup. It's a little notable. It's a little notable. And we can go back to that too.
Let's do it.
Because you can tell me who's missing from this lineup.
Okay.
You've got Arise DHing today, leading off.
Okay.
So lefty. Cronenworth is batting second.
It's Nola today.
Yeah, so righty.
Yeah.
Right. Noel's a righty.
Yeah.
So you've got lefty. Cronenworth is batting second.
Wait, Cronenworth's second.
Yeah.
When you said lefty, I thought you meant lefty.
Oh, yeah.
Lefty. Sorry.
It's okay. We cleared it up for everyone listening, too. Like it won't be a lefty on the mound. It will just be a really good righty. So that's fine.
just Aaron Nola.
So you have 2 lefties. Yeah. Arise is DHing. Cronenworth is at second base. Profar's hitting third. He's in left field. Manny Machado's at third base. He is hitting a cleanup still.
Okay.
Solano is at first base.
We're missing Tatis.
We are missing Tatis, correct. And okay, so then you got Merrill in center field, Peralta in right field, hitting 8th is Campusano, hitting 9th is shortstop Tyler Wade. So Tyler Wade is, no Kim. Yeah.
No Kim. No Kim,
Wait,
no Toddy.
Kim, no Toddy? Did we complete? Yeah.
No reason why?
Arise, Cronenworth, Profar, Machado, Solano, Merrill, Peralta, Campusano, Wade, and King. No reason why. Let's see if we can find out from any beat writers that are on the beat. I don't know if Mike Shildt has talked about it yet. I'm guessing he hasn't. So they.
Well, that's something.
No. I mean,
that's
I
something.
don't think they're out. Do you think Kim and Tatis are? No. I don't know why.
I think they're trying to beat the cheesesteak record. Trying to eat all the cheesesteaks in the clubhouse. Need a day off.
I'm really unless there's something wrong with him, I'm really surprised that Fernando Tatis Jr. is not in the lineup. And I'd be really curious if there's a reason.
I mean, if this is just matchup based, that's interesting to me.
Day off.
A day off.
Guy needs a day off.
Maybe they. I'm just seeing this. Who's Shane Trail?
Shane Trail?
I don't know.
Guy invented trail
All
mix.
right.
Mr. and Mrs. Trail's son?
Yeah.
Well, he has. I don't know who this guy is. All right. Against right-handed hitters, Aaron Nola throws the fastball around 26% recently. In their last 15-plus plate appearances against the fastball, only 3 Padres hitters own a less than 15% barrel rate and 50% hard hit rate. That is Ha-Seong Kim and Fernando Tatis. That doesn't.
So there's no way
He's speculating.
in hell
Right. That doesn't. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
that
what a
Mike
waste
Shildt
of
benched
money.
those guys
No.
on the computer. The printout did not get those guys.
This is not a matchup-y, doesn't hit Nola, whatever, well. Poor Shane is getting, I don't know who Shane is. He's just someone, I searched
chance.
Kim and Tatis on Twitter, so.
No chance.
So I don't know. Hopefully they are fine and it's just a day off. I mean, hopefully they are not injured and it's just a day off. Although it's interesting to have them both take a day off at the same time, I guess, against Aaron Nola.
Jesus says in the chat that Peralta's hitting 500 against Nola. I don't have those numbers personally, so that's, take that as it is. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're looking at something, but there's no way. There's no way. He did not bench Toddy and Kim on the printout. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way he took out Kim for Wade on the printout.
If the printout ever tells you to bench Fernando Tatis Jr., and you decide to do that, then you gave that guy way too much money.
Now, Tyler Ellison in the chat says, watch this be the lineup that actually beats Philly. He's probably right. Like, who knows? Because it's baseball and who knows. But yeah, hard to know. And it'll probably come out hopefully within this hour of why they're sitting, but hopefully it is not injury. Hopefully it's just like a little soreness maybe on something and they're just sitting out for that and nothing too serious is what I'm trying to say.
It's hilarious, too, as somebody said in the chat. They got a team of shortstops and they decided to go with Tyler Wade at shortstop. Out of all the shortstop choices they can have at short, it's Tyler Wade. Maybe he's the 2025 starting shortstop for the Padres opening day.
Also, if you were going to...
Oh, Shildt speaks at 2, according to Adam Klug. You'll have to listen in to Chris Ello and Sam Levitt.
Yep, and absolutely. And they'll so many times, before we even speculate any further, there's so many times there's reasons behind this, and I am not going, like, what is this idiot doing right in this lineup? There's always a reason.
Oh, yeah. If you're not putting them in the lineup, there's a significant reason. And Shildt will for sure be asked about it in his presser before the game, and we will find out. I'm seeing more. Tatis first full day off. Kim just his second. 2 extra lefties to throw at Nola in Peralta and Wade. Kim and Tatis rough road trip to start. So that's assuming they're healthy. These are just, again, more speculations. So maybe it's just a day off. That is like, maybe it's just a day off.
Bad cheesesteak.
Sure. When you're losing and you want, if that was in any way indicative of the way Mike Shildt has managed this team the first 70-something games, then I would say, yeah, sure, he's shaking things up. But
he doesn't really do
that.
that.
Yeah, typically you leave your everyday players like those guys in. I mean, maybe Kim if he hadn't, because he hasn't had a day off. But Kim just his second. So Tatis's first full day off. I guess maybe you're picking today as your day off.
Well, you can't beat the Phillies. Might as well just bring out the bench. Result is the same. Day is off.
It's hard for me to believe.
That's an unreal. Maybe the social media person put out the wrong lineup.
Oopsie, sorry.
That happens. Oh, my
researching
mistake.
Aaron Nola's splits. Aaron Nola's splits are even, gang.
I also feel like Fernando would want. I mean, look, sometimes what the player wants, shouldn't matter. You have to look out for the player as a manager and as a front office personnel. But they want to face the best. Like you want to go against the best, and and try to get something done?
Aaron Nola is giving up a 199 average to left-handed batters, 236 to right-handed batters. The OPS split is nothing. It's 647 righties, 643 lefties. There is absolutely no way that this was a platoon decision.
No.
There's no possible way. No way. No chance.
Yeah, why Fernando's 0 for 6 against
There's no chance.
Nola. Can't put him out there.
There's no chance.
Tyler Wade's 0 for 3 against Nola.
Yeah, so whatever the reason is, it's not that. And they'll either tell us or they won't. To be honest, they could maybe not tell us. They could also tell us something.
He's going to have to say something.
I mean, yeah, but they could be like, "Oh, day off," and actually it's something else.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be left in the clouds here on this one.
You also maybe bring them in off the bench. I don't know, guys.
Who knows?
We're speculating. I don't like speculating.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. Who knows? We definitely don't know. If I was gonna be making a move in the lineup that was putting Tyler Wade in, the guy I'd be putting him in for is Luis Arise. I want to give credit to Clark Farenthold on Twitter for putting the numbers up because I'm about to quote them. But since June 2nd, do you remember what happened June 2nd? June 2nd, he jammed his shoulder in Kansas City. Luis Arise went down, jammed his shoulder, missed 1 day. He played literally 1 day later, that Monday in Anaheim. Since that day, June 2nd, Luis Arise is hitting 246. His WRC plus is 63. And his weighted on base average is 248, meaning he's not hitting in any bad luck at all. 246 average, 248 weighted on base average. So Arise is not walking, he's not hitting, and he's not producing right now for San Diego. And he's almost undoubtedly, this kid Clark in his tweet even showed a clip from yesterday's game, a check swing in the fourth inning in his second at bat, where Arise kind of walked back and forth, took his time out, up 2-0, shook his shoulder out.
Yeah.
Like, there's a very good chance that Luis Arise, this is what I was talking to Annie, to Dylan about, right? The Bogarts injury is making the Padres suffer in ways that aren't obvious. One of those is that if Bogarts was here playing healthy right now, Luis Arise very well might be on the injured list.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, he does look. It appears to still be bothering him for Luis Arise, and I think there's got to be a point where you look at you consider maybe if it doesn't get better, putting him on the injured list, or maybe that should have been done earlier. It's hard when the player, I'm sure Luis Arise is like, I'm okay. So but look, if it continues on, you want to rest up. They get a lot of days off in July. Is it July?
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, sometimes you need like 3 or 4 days. You just need to let it heal. You need to give it some consecutive days off. And maybe he's trying to just get through get through the All-Star break before that happens. But you can tell it's bothering him, and those numbers are not like him.
You're not helping your team when you're at the top of the order, commanding the highest share of at-bats of anyone in the franchise, and your weighted on base is 248. Luis Arise is the best hitter in baseball. There's no question about that. It's unquestioned. So when he's hitting under 250, he's hurt, period.
Maybe they should move him out of leadoff.
Or straight to the IL.
Yeah.
Eggy Rosario is OPSing 1,000 in AAA.
Yeah, I think it's hard I don't know. It's like the medical staff, I know they're looking at him. He must be cleared enough to where it's not hurt. It's not, they're like, you can go keep playing. It's not going to cause like structural damage or, there's no break in there or things like that. So then it becomes a matter of the player. And sometimes, like I said, you have to do right you have to protect the player from himself. But I say that, and it's easier said than done because these guys are professionals and you don't want to, mess up the clubhouse vibe too much. You want to make sure that you're giving them a chance to help the team if they feel that they can help the team. And so I'm sure those conversations are going on, but sometimes maybe you do. You need to pull him out for his own good.
So, hey, it's a weird one. It's a weird one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, those numbers, like I'm with you, the guy can hit. So when he doesn't hit, I don't, he doesn't really go into that many slumps, Luis Arise.
No. He's kind of slump proof.
Mm-hmm.
unless he's hurt.
Yeah, like he was hitting like I think a little less than he had last year with his start to the Marlins this year, but it was still pretty high.
Yeah,
it was
he's
like
still hitting 300.
like 290 or 300 instead of 310 or whatever,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Crony batting second today. No Tatis in the lineup. No Kim in the lineup. Tyler Wade starting at shortstop, which, if nothing else, compromises the defense behind Michael King. And you're facing Kyle Schwarber, aren't you? You're facing the guy who gets a homer every 3 at-bats against the Padres the last couple of years.
I don't know who else you would put at shortstop, though. Who else would you put there?
You got a team full of shortstops.
I mean, Cronenworth, I guess.
Maybe. Where's Cronin today?
Second base. No, I mean, I'm not dissing Tyler Wade. He's obviously not Ha-Sung Kim.
Yeah. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Kim is the best defender on the team.
Yeah.
That's why they put him there. So just the fact that he's not playing is an interesting one. And if it was a throw the lineup at the wall type situation, then like Merrill would be leading off or something. So it's not that. It's a calculated decision. What those calculations were, it is pointless for us to try and speculate.
Yeah, they could both be sick or something.
100%.
They could have had a bad Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, did you say that?
I
Sorry,
did.
Braden.
Bad cheesesteak. They could be trying to break the record for most cheesesteaks eaten in a
Oh.
clubhouse. That's a thing in Philly.
Wit Whiz. They went Wit Whiz and regretted it.
Yeah, the whiz hurt them.
Got some bad whiz.
Ugh.
I think we got to bring Greg back in here to break down the cheesesteak. Whether or not you could get sick off of it, and if that's the problem.
Well, the answer is yes. You can get sick off of it.
Well, we're about to find out.
Boy.
Can it make your stomach hurt if you eat 25 cheesesteaks in a 24-hour period?
I
think it could.
Yes, it could.
Potentially,
I think that's what the record is. I think it's like 25.
In how long?
They have the rules. I forget the rule. You have to you can only eat the cheesesteaks. No, it's not a 24-hour period. You have the homestand, or you have the entire series as the away clubhouse, individually and team to break their cheesesteak
No, that is
record.
right. That is
the
absolutely
clubby
right.
makes them, and they're actually. I heard they're really good. I think the individual one's like 25 in a 4-game series. The strength and conditioning guy won it for the Rockies. He's the guy that's got it.
Now that makes sense.
But it's usually that's
a
what
lot.
it is. You can't eat them during the game, and you can only have them certain hours before and an hour after the game. I think are the rules.
Wow.
Yeah, once I think
Whole Olympics to this.
Yeah, there's rules to it, but I'll have the rules when we come back.
Does this explain Philadelphia's dominant home record?
It could. Guys are trying to break the cheesesteak record.
Maybe they're bringing suspect sus cheesesteak into the opposing
visiting
clubhouse.
team, here's a cool idea. Eat the unhealthiest thing possible, and whoever eats the most gets a prize. And all these dumb ball players are like, I'm ready, I'm hungry as heck.
Yeah,
oh, God, why do I play so bad in Philly? I don't know.
The cheesesteak eating contest that they have.
So smart.
I never learned about too. When I was there, the Wawa. AJ Casabell brought me a pretzel from the Wawa, which I have to say was delicious.
Wawa's a huge thing.
It was but you can. I guess it's not just convenience. It's also
right. It's
meals.
like a 7-Eleven, but they've got really good sandwiches and other things, breakfast sandwiches.
Right, but it's
whatnot.
like a gas station, right?
It's 100% a gas station.
All right, here are the rules for the contest. Everything must be consumed in the clubhouse. No yakking. Some form of meat must be on the roll. The bun must be filled.
Wow.
And then
Why don't we have a California burrito contest for our visiting clubhouse?
Got to take it up with the clubbing that makes them.
Yeah. And I mean, look, he's continued the tradition of Nelson Cruz, and he brings Dominican food to opposing clubhouses. They can, out of good hosting, bring food to the opposing clubhouse. And, maybe it's just been sitting around for a while.
Here are the records.
Create a contest.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Individual one-day record, Adrian Sanchez has consumed the most. He had 10.5 cheesesteaks.
That's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Team one-day record, the New York Mets have the record for 103 cheesesteaks in one day.
Well, at least they won something.
Individual 3-day record, the top one is Rockies coach Mike Jasperson. He had 21.5 over a 3-day series. Individual 4-day record is Mike Jasperson. He had 25 in a 4-day series. They're mostly, look at the 3-day records. Rockies coach, Brewers bullpen catcher, Mets bullpen catcher, all-star outfielder Dimitri Rowe.
How long ago did they do this?
I think Jasperson did it a couple years ago,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. This is updated in 22.
He's gearing up for his next
Can you
attempt.
imagine it's the World Series?
Former
and you're
Padre
like,
is on this
Let
list.
me down these cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
You know?
Your guys' favorite Padre is on this list. Third most for a 4-day record. Don't know what team he was on when he did this.
Who?
But pitcher Matt Latos had 18 cheesesteaks in a 4-day
Of course he
game
did.
series.
Of course he did.
God, if he could only pitch as well as he could eat
He
a
thought it was a
cheesesteak.
health food.
That is
like,
correct.
oh my
But they're
gosh.
mostly bullpen catchers and strength conditioning coaches.
We need to do this with California
That makes
burritos.
I think so.
We need to do this with 2,500 calorie California burritos.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be filled with contagion or E. coli or anything.
No, let's not do that.
No,
That's
they
me.
they
Yeah.
just have to be fattening and
sit in your stomach.
right, yeah, making you feel
Bloated.
exactly, make you feel like you're 500 pounds
Yeah.
as you're sitting on the bench. And so all the pinch hitters are like, I don't know, man. No, don't put me in right now.
They're feeling a little slow. They're feeling a little sluggish. They want to take a nap.
I shouldn't have asked for the third burrito with the
yeah.
sour cream. Oh.
It's a standard 10 to 12-inch sandwich most of the time.
Padres, we're giving you another way to win at home. We
God.
keep giving you so many good ideas. Can you please write this one down? California Burrito Contest in the visiting clubhouse. Make it a thing. Create a leaderboard. Put it up there. As soon as you have a leaderboard up there and it shows the Cali Burrito and it says, this guy got this. That's it. You have unlocked success at your home ballpark for the rest of time.
Do you need excuses, Craig? Do you need can't they do it on their talent alone?
Apparently not.
They
Have you seen the home record? I think we have room for improvement.
Apparently, the sandwiches, according to visiting teams, are better than Pat's and Gino's. The two
I could
touristy
see that.
places.
I could see that.
too.
That the clubhouse can make it better.
Better,
Right?
I
Yeah.
can agree.
We got to take a break. 833-288-0973 if you want to call the show. 833-288-0973. Annie and Elsten. We come right back after this on The Fan. Listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam will cover everything going on with the Padres. Find it at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. We have a pair of tickets to give away to Thursday's
Yes, we do.
Padres-Brewers game.
I got tickets to that.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's the Aloha night, right?
I think it is. What's your little sheet say?
What's your little sheet say?
I'll tell you what my little sheet says.
Pause. Pause.
I'll let you know. On Thursday, June 20th at 6:40 p.m., the Padres host the Brewers, and the first 40,000 fans will receive a 619 Aloha shirt presented by Jack in the Box.
Where is it? Don't you have it?
I do. Hang on.
Put it on.
Well, I'll put it up on the screen. This year's button-up shirt features many staples of San Diego and its lifestyle.
Hey.
Palm trees.
It has a Jack blowing a bubble.
Jack blowing a bubble.
That's hilarious.
That's
by the way.
hilarious.
I love
Yeah.
Jack.
The bell, the
That's
victory
great.
bell is on there.
I'm gonna zoom in on Craig here so you can see
Little
it.
baseball.
The Jack blowing the bubble like Manny Machado is hilarious.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
I love Jack. He's great.
Jack's great.
When is this?
That's Thursday.
Thursday is
Hey.
what we have. There's
Thursday,
giveaway
gang.
tickets to. You could
Right.
get that if you win.
That is correct.
You get that too.
Here's what you got to do.
Be one of the first 40,000 people to show up.
Or be the fifth caller right now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Fifth caller will get 2 tickets, and then you get to go, and that means you get 2 shirts. Not bad.
What size is that shirt?
Well, this one is a medium. Would you like it?
Medium.
No.
This will not
You don't
fit
wear that.
me.
You don't wear that to the press box, Annie.
No,
I'm
you
sure
know,
that'd be
I don't
frowned
know.
upon.
Sometimes fits are weird.
Well, the fits
Like,
are
I'm not
definitely
sh-
weird,
yeah, I'm not
especially on
sure
giveaway
that would-
stuff.
Right. Like I want someone to. Are we giving that away?
Yeah, first
Okay.
40,000.
I want someone to get that. No, are we giving it
no,
away?
I don't.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not giving
No,
that.
we're
away.
holding this up to and then giving it back to Adam. That's how it works around here.
And then somebody
Which
else
is
will
fine,
take it.
by the way.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to work. Right?
Yes.
That's
These
great.
things they rotate through. We hold them up for the
Each
camera.
show puts it up on the camera. Right.
And then each show, we pick which things we like,
Right.
and which we want.
Yeah. It's a great Aloha shirt, though.
But I'm gonna get one on Thursday, so obviously I'm not bringing this one home.
On Sunday, it's Rookie Plush Pillow Night presented by Petco.
Oh, that's cute.
That's Kids Day every
Yeah.
Sunday.
First
Ballpark.
8,000 kids, 14 and younger, receive a Rookie Plush Pillow. Rookie from the Paw Squad.
Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Squad.
Paw Squad, right? Pod Squad, Paw Squad. Paw Squad.
I thought it was the Paw Patrol. Or is
No,
that
Paw
something
Patrol
else?
is the
Paw
Nickelodeon.
Squad.
No.
Paw Patrol. Paw
They take the
Patrol.
little puppies out on the track, the
Yeah.
one track,
Yeah.
and they're
Paw
cute.
Squad.
Yeah.
And Rookie is the pup.
Rookie.
Oh
is
yeah,
the young
Rookie
one.
is the
Is the
name
pup.
of the dog. Yes.
Is the name of the pup dog.
Yes.
So a Rookie
It has a little
plushie.
tail.
Yes, it does have a little tail.
I might
and
have
a
to have a
little bow tie.
cheesesteak on Thursday too.
You could totally take this and have it as like a head pillow.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's
On
great.
a plane, on a train.
Great. We can have it on a plane. We can have it on a train.
Thanks, Dr. Seuss.
Paw Squad.
Paw Squad.
Paws.
Charisma wants it.
You can get it if you bring a kid.
Right?
You
Yeah.
have to. Why should you
it's a kid
have to bring
thing.
a kid? Maybe someone just wants. Is
It's
that
a
a kid thing?
giveaway.
It's a 14 or younger.
Yeah, they have.
What if you want to
kid
bring it
giveaways,
home
too.
to your kid? What if like?
Well,
Should have brought him to the game.
y'all better bring him to the game then.
Yeah, why are you leaving your kid at home when you
Yeah.
can have a fun day at
Yeah.
Kids Day?
Someone
Gallagher
let
Square.
Charisma borrow your child. Those of you that have like a few of them.
Yeah, charisma, or hold up your cousin's sonogram and see if that works. Like, kid on the way. Maybe, I don't think that'll work, but
They're really cute.
just depends on which vendor you get. Like, who's going to accept that?
It depends on It depends on who's passing them out.
Yeah, eventually the guys would just take it. Just take it. Just take it.
Could you imagine
You're
harassing
wearing me
somebody?
down.
Here's my
Chris was
sonogram.
like,
It's
I
coming.
really am 16. You know, just really young that
the
day.
fighting for the giveaway. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Please just take it. I get paid enough to do this.
Unbelievables. Okay, well, good luck to everybody getting the tickets. Padres and Brewers, 4-game set. By the way, this homestand is now appearing, and of course, the Padres can help things out a lot if they can win the next 2 days. Winning the next 2 days would be extraordinarily helpful.
What a huge boost that would be to their confidence as well.
It would be great.
It would. Because right now, this is looking like, if you remember the second Lord of the Rings movie, this is a Helm's Deep situation. This is the ultimate battle coming up, and it is a battle for your playoff life this coming week. 4 against the Brewers, 3 against the Nationals, who, by the way, are ahead of you right now in the standings, and can push you down the standings if they win that series. It's gone from, a losing team you're supposed to take care of to your life's on the line. This is the Brewers for 4, the Nats for 3. You've got 2 left against Philly. That's 9 games. You got to win some of these games, man. You can't just dump all these games. You're going to be 11 games under 500.
It's an important stretch. It almost felt a little hyperbolic to talk about it that way, but it's really not. I mean, it's an important stretch. These next, whatever, like you said, this series, the Brewers series into the National series, you got to come out the winning side of that. And it's not like your season's over, but it's an important stretch of baseball that can really have you clawing to come up from the bottom if you don't take care of business, or at least just hold yourself steady in that 500 range.
People need to remember that the trade deadline now and the trade deadline when you were growing up, or even last decade, or even at the beginning of this decade, it's different. There's 2 teams in the National League that are actually out of it, Colorado and Florida. The 13th place team in the league right now is the Cubs. They're 4 games under, and they firmly believe they're in it. And they're going to work to improve at the deadline. Now, the Nationals may not work to improve. The Pirates may not work to improve, but the Cardinals will. The Giants will. The Diamondbacks will. All of these teams in a seller's market are going to be looking to improve. It makes it hard for all of them to get better, but some of them will get better. And the assumption around these parts has always been that the Padres are going to be the team that makes a trade that gets better. You know, Jim Bowden puts out 5 billion trades a week on The Athletic. So I take him with an entire canister, a refill canister of salt. Never mind a shaker of salt.
He was wrong a lot last year,
All the time. All the time.
He called playoff team. I mean, he was so insistent on even the Padres.
Yeah.
And it was like not a good read of what was actually happening here in San Diego.
But in his latest 5 big trades I'd like to see made column, guess who he had Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert and Michael Kopech going to?
The Cubs.
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers. All these guys that, we're the Padres. We'll go get Garrett Crochet and we'll get Michael Kopech and we'll get Luis Robert. No, the Dodgers. Guess who needs players? The Dodgers do.
Yeah.
Guess who's completely stocked to make any blockbuster trade they need to? The Dodgers are. They are. Guess who could also improve? Milwaukee. You know who else wants to get better? Philly.
Yeah.
They're not gonna just sit on their butts. They're gonna try and win the World Series. So that's what these next few weeks are about. The Padres, they spent 2 months, and we spent 2 months going, hey, well, 500 could win it. Like, hey, let's just cruise around. Maybe 500 wins it. Maybe we'll get better. Every one of these teams is going to try and improve. And if you go through the next 9 games and you lose 7, right, and you get to 7 games under 500, why are you one of the teams that's going to improve? You're now one of the teams that should be selling pieces off your team. So if you don't think it's on the line, it's on the line. And I'll say here to wrap up this segment before we go to Ask Us Anything, the same thing I said in the first segment today at 10 a.m. The time to get mad at this team was a month ago. A month ago. That's when they were dropping important, winnable games that at the time seemed like, get them next time. But it wasn't. It wasn't. They let so much of their leash go over the course. And now that leash is so tight that it's around your neck. Like, it's a tight leash now. Padres have 9 games. Phillies, Brewers, Nats. And you got to win.
Last year, Arizona lost 25 of 32 in one stretch. They lost 25 out of 32 games, and they made it to the World Series. And I think it's become something that now teams look at rightfully and say, look, they just did it last year. This is something that, as long as you stay 500, you stay in the playoff race,
right,
you can get there in the end. It's also a little dangerous because of what you just mentioned, because even though that is true, the Padres will not be out of it. They will still be able to make the playoffs. it's a dangerous little game of I'll just go with Frogger. I don't know what someone name me another game. But because you're trying to get all these other teams are trying to do the same thing, and eventually some will drop off and some will jump ahead, and of course you want your team to be the one that jumps ahead. But you're really like fighting and clawing until the very end, and a lot gets taken out of your hands because you have to depend on other teams to fail in order for you to succeed.
When we come back, we will succeed at presenting for you Ask Us Anything. It's our end of the show catch-all call-in segment. And we will have cleared the lines at that point of folks going for the Padres Brewers tickets. So, wait 2 minutes and then call in. And you've got till 1:50 p.m. to give us a ring. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. All you got to do when you call in is ask us a question because it's Ask Us Anything.
Anything.
And ask us anything.
Anything.
Yes. Do that next. Annie and Elsten wrapping things up on the Fan. But we're looking for Ask Us Anything callers. So if you want it, 833-288-0973. You have 2.5 minutes.
Who unshuffled our music, by the way?
Shuffled our music?
Unshuffled it. We've had Blink like all day.
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
We've never had like a full Blink day.
Is that when your computer crashed, maybe?
Oh, I wonder if it reset everything. Just put in order. I mean, I feel like the last like
It's
4
alphabetical
songs.
order.
Yeah. Oh, we got a lot more Blink coming up,
It's
guys.
just Blink Day.
It's Blink Day.
Don't blink.
Those are the mood. That's the mood today. Just, some 90s alternative rock or punk rock, emo
San
rock.
Diego, local.
Yeah, San Diego local. Everybody's upset.
Remember when you all sang All the Small Things in the Rain?
Yeah.
Oh, great memories.
It's going to be a long time at that point.
Yeah.
Great memories. My buddy John reminded me last summer, around this time last summer, when I was so ticked at the Padres. It was probably 3 or 4 weeks later. Because there were only 2 under at this point. We were all in that same, I don't know, what's going to happen? And like, I was so miserable. And he was like, I remember you cackling and laughing, going down the street like a maniac, walking out of that game saying, this is the best thing that's ever happened. Like, this is the best Padres thing that's ever happened. I couldn't be, I'll be happy about this forever. And he's like, so why aren't you just happy about that this year? Like, I know this year's not going well. Why aren't you happy about that? Remember that.
Just think about that. One of my nephews who likes baseball, but not a huge super fan, but ended up being downtown when the Padres beat the Dodgers for a different reason. And he was like, I'm going to just go out on the street. And he, to this day, will talk about the high fives everyone were giving each other and how everyone looked so happy. Yeah, like it stands out in his memory so much, just the happiness from San Diegans, And he was like, 15, 16 or whatever at the time. And so it's just interesting how like that is like a core memory.
It is. And we will always have that and we'll always celebrate it. But Padres, we don't want to just pay for that memory for the rest of the decade. We want to succeed and make new memories. And we don't want to just always be reminded about, you remember that day when things were good?
Remember
we want things
back
to be
when?
Good. Exactly. Pepperidge Farm remembers when you won that game that time.
Ted Leitner doing in the Padres vault.
Look at you all for showing up. Let's play the bumper here, Braden. Here we go. Here's Dustin in Santee. Hi, Dustin. You're on with Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything. Dustin's gone.
We'll see ya, buddy.
Let's go to Ruben in San Diego. Hi, Ruben. You're on with Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything.
Hey, guys. Forgive me about my English. I need you to tell me what do you think about Machado. I don't like him.
Okay.
I don't like him. Oh, no. Is he the one that called him that name today?
What was his name? Dustin?
Ruben.
No, that was Ruben.
Ruben.
What do you think about Machado? I don't like him.
And then he hangs up.
That was just perfect, actually. No further commentary needed. I think you said it all. Here's Zach and Miriam. Zach, you be Zach. Hi, Zach. What's up, man?
Hello, friends. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Better now that you're here.
Oh, so nice of you. What is your? If you could hang out with a fictional character, who would it be? What would you guys do?
Oh, my God.
Fictional character.
Fictional character.
I know, that's like super broad, but.
Wow.
I would hang out with, I'm blanking on his name.
Superman?
Marty McFly. Just as long as the DeLorean's there. Marty McFly, Doc Brown. Be a fun time.
Okay. All right.
I guess I'll go with. There's got to be a better one than you know what I'm about to say.
Oh no, I changed
Harry
mine.
Potter, like
Rusty from Ocean's 11. That'd be a fun time.
Okay, you're gonna get part of the heist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna be in.
It doesn't have to be like imaginary.
You're gonna be wheeling in the gymnast.
That's right.
In the
I'm not gonna,
in the
no,
cash box.
I can't do that. I'm not small enough for that. Surprisingly enough, but being able to hang out with Brad Pitt's character in that movie would be sick.
All right. All right.
Seems like a cool guy. He could teach me poker like he taught the celebrities.
I have no idea. That is so. It's just so huge.
It's a
I know
long
Manny's
deal.
going to go like 3 for 4 tonight. Just based off that
doesn't
call.
answer the question.
It's fine.
It's not answering the question. It's ask us anything.
And Manny is working back from an injury.
Hit a
Ask
bomb.
us anything. We
Hit
won't
a
answer
bomb.
it.
Hit a bomb. Please hit a bomb.
I don't have a good one. I'm going to go low hanging fruit for myself and say Harry Potter, just because I'd want to see the wizarding world.
The wizarding world.
Yeah, I'd want to like be able to portal and fly and have a wand.
There's
Scooby-Doo.
no question it's something like that for me too, Zach. I'm just not honed in on it in this exact minute, but it's something supernatural that would allow me to experience that.
Hanging out
Space travel,
Radiator Springs with all the
time
cars.
travel.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Talking cars.
Yeah.
That'd be legit.
Hang out with Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Oh, tight.
Simba and Nala, you could experience the jungle.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
In. Fun stuff. He said fictional character. I mean, these are all fictional characters.
That's right. That's right.
You gotta think outside the
Great
box.
question.
It's a great question.
Shrek and Donkey.
And Puss in Boots, too. The crew.
We're missing really good ones.
Dread Pirate Roberts.
You're going to come
Ooh,
back.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, Jack Sparrow.
Captain Sparrow?
Jack Sparrow.
That'd be a fun one. Who would you go with, Zach?
Is he still on the line?
Yeah, he is.
How about you?
My first. Yeah, I'm just chilling. My first thought was Jesse Pinkman. Would be very interesting to hang out
From Breaking
with,
Bad.
I mean, it depends what
Yeah,
what are you doing exactly?
Part of his life, if chained up in the meth room, that's not it.
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be great.
That's
no,
not fun.
I was thinking post Breaking Bad, post El Camino. No spoilers for anyone who's been out for a while.
Hanging out in Alaska.
Yeah.
Love you, Zach. Appreciate you, brother. Bringing the creativity
On
each
it.
time.
On it.
I would not hang out with Jesse Pinkman under any circumstance, period.
Bad things follow him.
We invite you to hang out with Gwen and Chris and then experience Padres baseball next on The Fan. Let's go, Pods!